So you finally want to get behind the wheel, huh?
Yeah, I've been shooting for 3 years and I've never got to drive.
Well, you're going to need some more gear than just your helmet. Why don't you go to shopakr.com. They got their inventory online and they'll ship it the same day if you order before 5:30 p.m. Eastern.
They got shoes?
Yep.
Gloves?
Yep.
Rib protectors?
Got those too.
Can they make me go fast?
No.
Here at Acceleration Kart Racing, we've got everything you need to get on track. What happens next, well, that's on you. Check us out online at shopakr.com.
Good afternoon, race fans, and welcome back to Whiteland Raceway Park for the second round of the Indy Karting Challenge. We're seeing some replays now from the action this morning, some great wheel-to-wheel racing as we watch right now the mini category. Danny O'Gara out front, not able to bring home the victory today. Sorry, guys, some brief audio issues. Right now, checking out some replays from this morning's action. As we see here, this looks like senior light. Or actually, that's senior heavy. Some great wheel-to-wheel action there. And the weather has taken a turn for the better at Whiteland Raceway Park here, just south of Indianapolis in Whiteland, Indiana. Overnight, we had some big storms roll through, made the track conditions very interesting this morning for qualifying, as we see now that weather pop up on your screen. Everything looking good for the remainder of the afternoon. 75 degrees here in Whiteland. Track has completely dried. We've actually seen some rubber get laid down here through this PM practice and qualifying run as we get underway here with our first group of the afternoon heat. 206 Sportsman, presented by Ghost Racing, 8 to 12 years old, utilizing that Briggs & Stratton 206 power plant, the most common power plant found in regional and club karting today. Obviously, also a big national contingent with the Cup Karts USA program, and we are seeing the 206 quickly become the most utilized engine in karting across the country. Huge field here in 206 Sportsman as we are set to get underway for the first round of heats. While you're with us, be sure to follow us on social media at RaceWRP on Facebook and Instagram, Whiteland Raceway Park on YouTube, and follow along with all info regarding the Indy Karting Challenge. Drivers are slowing down, getting lined up. Looks like we're having a little bit of a pace problem. I would not be surprised to see the starters send them around one more time as we want them to be grouped up nice and tight. Green flag for the starter. We are underway. 206 Sportsman, 8 to 12 years old. Good jump there for your pole sitter. Kart number 5. And we are green flag racing. Sears out to a quick lead. Johnson making a move to the inside, going on the back straightaway. That's actually Gaddis up to the point, and he'll lead him into the chicane and into the Monza for the first time in this 206 Sportsman heat race event. Gaddis, good line through the Monza, able to run a nice wide racing line into that infield to get a good run out. No pressure from behind as we see a battle heating up there for a second. Is that Johnson making a move there on Sears, and it looks like he gets it done, and no, they switch back. Little wheel-to-wheel action, bunching them up. They're going to get overtaken by a few drivers a little bit further back in the pack. We're off to an interesting start. 4 minutes and 10 seconds to go, plus 2 laps in this heat race for 206 Sportsman as we see a breakaway for Gaddis. Tons of empty track between him and his fellow competitors, so he'll get to just click laps off, look for some consistent pace, and see if he can't walk that gap a little bit bigger in these opening sectors. Sears and Johnson rounding out your top 3, Fetchinger and O'Gara rounding out your top 5. From position 3 back to about 10th is wheel-to-wheel. You can throw a blanket over those race cars, and really that's something we're commonly seeing in the 206 platform. These cars really highlight the driving and the performance of the driver rather than the performance of the engine and the chassis, and it really puts an emphasis on racecraft as it's really hard for drivers to break away. As we see a little bottleneck there, looks like a Top Kart USA driver getting a little bump and run, and they are shaking things up at the front. Danny O'Gara drops back to P5. Lappin is up into 4th position, so he made up a few spots in that last lap. Thomas P6, Roberts P7, Sears all the way back from the front of the grid back to 8th position right now on 3 laps. Stoner in 9th, and Hendrickson rounding out your top 10. It has been an exciting opening few laps here for this 206 Sportsman heat race. Round 2 of the Indy Karting Challenge at Whiteland Raceway Park. This class is quickly becoming one of the most fun to watch from a spectator perspective. Super tight, hard racing. The younger drivers generally even show each other a little bit more respect, a little bit better racecraft than the older drivers, although we're seeing some wheel-to-wheel banging and side potting here this session. Some of these drivers are definitely going to have a talk with race director Matt Burpo after this one is finished. So we'll see if we can get some clean on-track action for the remainder of this heat race. As we get back to the action here. On track, still Gaddis with a big lead out in front. Here we go, back to the battle. On track, going through the chicane into the Monza. What group is this? We lost the lead group there for a second. This might be Fletchinger. That is indeed Fetchinger up into 2nd over Johnson. Danny O'Gara picking up a spot into P4. And they are running down Gaddis a little bit, but it is not going to be enough. Gaddis just goes purple with a 50.86. He's 0.4 of a second a lap quicker than P2 and P3, both kind of matching pace there in that second group. The battle is certainly going to be for the top P3 as we see that group on screen now, just tight battling. A little bit too much curb there, it looks like, from Johnson again. These new curbs at Whiteland for this weekend, CIK level curbs, are going to be a learning curve for these young drivers as we see them disrupting the go-kart a little bit, maybe unsettling it, killing a little bit of momentum, particularly in that double left heading onto the back straightaway. We've been seeing that all day, and that's something these drivers and the mechanics are definitely going to be talking about as we want to get these kids not taking too much of that curb, utilizing it when needed, utilizing it when it'll help. But so far we've seen it really shake up and kill some momentum as Danny O'Gara actually goes purple that time by with a 49.83, matching pace with Gaddis up front. Just a little bit of a rough start there for O'Gara, but he seems to be picking up the pace, and he's going to catch the back of this group quick. Danny O up into third place over Johnson. Danny O is 0.2 of a second quicker than Fetchinger in second. We'll see if he can reel in that 1 second gap. Right now, it doesn't even look like it's a second, just a few kart lengths really. So we'll see if he can catch up to Fetchinger, take over that second spot, and secure himself a good starting position for the final here in 206 Sportsman. We get back to the on-track action. We see Danny O'Gara making a good pass on Fetchinger up into P2 in that old throwback livery WRP kart. Will Power Racing, Will Power, the IndyCar driver with a short stint in karting as a chassis promoter. And we're seeing the tight battle here as it looks like there's even a bigger battle heating up as that P4. Jordan Leppin looking a little bit pressured from Titus Roberts behind him. We'll see if he can hold him off. Dylan Thompson right there, white flag last lap. Dylan Thompson right there to put the pressure on if there's any mistakes out of Jordan or Titus. So we'll see as it looks like Dominic Gaddish, just a stellar run, big gap, and he's going to just drive this one home, clicking off laps to an easy victory. Danny O'Gara, hard-fought ways up to P2 there. A little bit of a tire drop there for Fetchinger. That's not going to be enough, I don't think, to let Lappin catch him. And Titus Roberts and Dylan Thomas rounding out your top six. Austin Taylor coming through in P7. He's at the front of that second group. And we see right there just kind of a big spread out gap. And there's a move. What kart is that? We're missing kart numbers, guys. Sorry, hard to see on the screen here. Some good battles back through P6 through P10. A little bit of side potting this race, a little bit more than we saw in the morning. So I think that's something the race promoters are obviously going to be taking a look at. The staffing team at Whiteland Raceway Park under the training of Joe Janowski is really going to be looking at cleaning up some of this racecraft, particularly with the young drivers, and making sure they're racing each other clean and with respect. So, keep an eye out for that, young drivers, if you're watching, if you're competing this weekend. Make sure that you're keeping those side pods off each other. Don't put a nose to anybody. We're really looking for clean racing out here at Whiteland Raceway Park. So that stuff's going to get cracked down upon, under the guidance of Joe Janowski and race director Matt Burpo. And so far, we are off to an exciting start. Let's catch some replay action here at the start of this one as we see Gaddis make good work of taking the lead over after that short little bobble there from Sears. Gaddis able to just check right out. More side-to-side action. That's where Sears started losing some positions there, moving towards the back. Ended up coming home in 8th place after this, but look, they lose 2, 3, 4 positions in that bobble in the infield. This tight track racing, one mistake can really be leveraged to make a lot of passes happen. So these young drivers learning the craft, learning when to go, when to wait and be patient. And this is a prime example of one of those times when an early move ended up costing a racer a lot of positions. Danny O'Gara fighting his way up, finding a second place. That'll get him a good starting position for today's final coming up this afternoon. And this group is going to produce some killer racing all day. So we'll keep a lookout for these guys as they come up later this afternoon. Their final set to roll off today at 4:10 p.m. 206 Sportsman presented by Ghost Racing. And next group on the track, we're going to have 206 Cadet. So 206 Cadet rolling out onto the circuit now. They're going to be given the cut-through signal here by race staff and sent through on their formation lap. About halfway through this lap, they will slow down, bunch up, and get ready to funnel into the tram lanes, hopefully receive a green flag this time by. Sometimes with these younger drivers, it's a bit of a challenge to teach them the functions of racing an event like this, where we want them to slow down, where they need to move, where they need to check up. And it seems like right now, under pole sitter Howard, is going to be no issue to get these guys rounded up and in formation to take the green for their race. We are underway. Green flag racing. Howard with the early jump here in the 206 Cadet category. Gets through the first few corners in the new sector of the circuit cleanly, and he is getting tailed by our off pole with no gap. These 206s, like we saw this morning in the Miami Swift categories, maybe a little bit of a difference in engine. It does not look like they're going to start this race. It looks like we're going to slow them down and give it one more go. Much better formation there as we see the IKC staff showing these drivers to slow down. They will funnel onto the straightaway and into the tram lanes, and green flag this time by. Green, green, green. Big curb hop there in the middle of the field, and it looks like that's going to split these packs up. Hudson Howard out front, a little bit of a gap back to P2 early, and we will see how they stack up as they come around for lap 1. Hudson Howard with a good run onto the back straightaway, opening up a 2 to 4 car gap there through the chicane into the iconic Monza corner here at Whiteland Raceway Park. Whiteland Raceway Park, founded in 1958, the oldest operating kart track in the U.S., under the guidance of Andy O'Gara and Sarah O'Gara, IndyCar team owners, and now go-kart racetrack owners. So thanks to the O'Gara family for keeping karting alive here in southern Indianapolis and giving young drivers like these kids right now a great place to hone their skills and learn how to race. As we see Hodges putting big-time pressure on the back of Howard there, as they go through the 1-2 complex in the new sector of the track. Howard just a slight gap advantage under braking, it seems, over Hodges, but we'll see how they shake up as we work 4 minutes plus 2 laps to go in this heat race. Hudson Howard opening up a little bit of a gap there down the back straightaway and into the old infield section, as it looks like Hodges is slowing up a little bit, backing up to Richards in third. We'll see if Richard has anything for Hodges as we start working lap number 3. 3.5 minutes left to go. And purple lap for Hudson Howard, 51.688. Hudson 0.3 of a second a lap quicker than P2 and P3. So we'll see if Hudson's able to maintain or even open that gap up a little bit as we work lap 3. 3 minutes to go plus 2 laps. Again, Whiteland Raceway Park Club races a function of time plus laps now for scoring purposes. Time plus laps. So these young drivers are racing against the clock. At any point when the drivers cross the start-finish line, after that clock has expired, they will be shown 2 laps to go. 2 laps to go will be shown in 2 minutes and 40 seconds. It creates a unique dynamic here found in other programs across the country now. And really, it's a function of being able to keep on schedule, on time for these events during the day without having to make altercations for rain or adjustments or anything like that. So it really makes it an effective way to promote a race. And while it's different, it's going to be a little bit of a learning curve for these young drivers. They're still going to get shown 2 to go. They're still going to get shown a white flag. but in the middle of the race, it's hard for them to be shown a halfway point. So these young drivers just giving it everything they've got until they see that 2 to go, and then hoping they can dig a little bit deeper and find a little bit more. As we see Hudson Howard just stretching a massive lead here over Reagan Hodges and William Richard, as Hudson on the brakes through the hairpin into the old infield sector of the circuit. And really, again, same thing we saw in the Swift category this morning, just consistency out of Hudson Howard, able to click off fast lap after fast lap. 51.68 fast lap for Hudson Howard. Let's see how he goes this time. 51.42. Hudson Howard resetting the fast lap of the race on lap 3. Reagan Hodges, bit of a gap opening up between them and William Richard, as it seems like our top 3 just sort of spread out a little bit, making a nice easy heat race. Obviously the one that matters is going to be the final event later this afternoon, so nobody pushing too hard and just learning the dry circuit. This is their first racing scenario here in the 206 platform. Most of these young drivers competing in a 2-stroke class in the morning group and a 4-stroke class in the afternoon group, allowing them to get maximum seat time, maximum experience here on track. Great format with this AM and PM group sessions. Really getting to teach these drivers different racecraft and getting them twice as many opportunities to start races, make passes, and most importantly, finish races, which Hudson Howard is looking to do right now as we're working 20 seconds left. We are 3 to go at this time. 3 to go for Hudson Howard. Car number 587 there, William Richard, and then a big gap back to Reagan Hodges. Reagan Hodges losing a little bit of pace. We'll see if we get 2 to go this time by. They may give them, yep, it's 2 to go. 2 to go for Hudson Howard in the 206 Cadet Heat 1 here at IKC, Whiteland Raceway Park. 4.5 second lead for Hudson Howard over William Richard. Massive, massive consistency here out of the Howard clan. So great to see him clicking off consistent laps, and we'll see if William Richard and Reagan Hodges can go back in the garage, make some changes, both in coaching and in chassis setup, and maybe make an impact on chasing down Hudson Howard here in the final this afternoon. Hudson Howard climbing out of the old sector of the circuit onto the front straightaway. White flag for Hudson Howard in that J. Howard Motorsport Driver Development Kart number 79. Last lap. 6-second lead over this session. Really, really consistent racecraft here from Hudson. Not much contention from behind, although we expect to see that change for this afternoon's finals. This is our second youngest group we have racing at the Indy Karting Challenge over the Kid Kart category. These young drivers just 7 to 10 years of age. So they are learning the ropes, learning different parts of the racecraft, and it's very important for them to get this experience. And I would venture to say that by the middle of the season, we'll even see a little bit tighter battles in these groups as the talent level sort of evens out and these drivers get a little bit more experience on and off the track. Hudson Howard crosses the line, P1, to wrap up 206 Cadet Heat 1. William Richard rounding out your second position, and Reagan Hodges finishing out the top 3. We're still waiting for Cason Martin and Patrick McNeely to cross the line. That'll be a tight battle through that infield sector here. We'll see where they turn out. Let's get cameras over to there. Yellow flags. We've got a cart around in the infield. That's Cason Martin. So something must have happened here with Patrick McNeely and Cason Martin. Cason Martin ended up backwards, lost one position, wheel to wheel on the straightaway. Patrick McNeely brings home P4, Martin P5, Call P6, and Hastings will round out your field in top 7. We'll get a quick replay here as we see Howard get a good jump in that initial start. Again, we see mid-pack there, just a little bit too much of that CIK curbing in turn 1. Disrupts and really split this group apart right away. A little bit of wheel-to-wheel battle there, not quite able to get around the outside. Let's see if this driver puts it inside, and that's the incident we missed there on the last lap between Martin and I believe that's Call. So that will be indeed under review, I'm sure, from the race directors, the race officials. And again, these young drivers just trying to learn racecraft, learning what it's like to race wheel-to-wheel. These situations are intense. So for these young 7 to 10-year-old drivers to be able to manage that situation is important. And like I said, they're here to learn, and we're here to teach them. Up next on our running order, we have 206 Junior. 206 Junior, sponsored by Belem Logistics. And this is a big field we have here today. I'm sorry, this is 206 Medium. My apologies, I was looking at 2 separate lists here. 206 Medium, presented by New Gen Motorsports. No wonder the group's so big. This is going to be a stellar race. Good wheel-to-wheel competition. Like I said earlier, these 206 platform events really separate the drivers, and you're going to be able to throw a blanket over the top 20 in this category, certainly. Here we see the level of experience out of these drivers as they slow down and bunch the group up at the formation cone to get ready to take the green this time by. Slow start's critical, not only for safety and kart racing, but also for the performance of the front row. Slower the start, the more likely it is that the pole sitter is going to gain the advantage out of the start box and be able to lead into turn 1. Really getting that extra little jump as they funnel into the tram lanes. We'll look for green this time by. And we've got it. Green flag racing for 206 Medium. Nice and clean through turn 1 and 2. A little 3-wide action there in the mid-pack as we see Johnson get the second place position. Little bit of a shuffle there. One of the drivers getting shaken back there outside of Eli Fox. Can Eli Fox get around and come out in P3? It doesn't look like it. He's going to get hung out going onto the back straightaway. As we see the drivers go double file into the chicane, and Eli Fox comes out in P3. Masterful racecraft there by Eli Fox as they work their way through the hairpin and back into the infield sector. A little bit of wheel-to-wheel action there mid-pack as we see these guys shaking out, trying to find their place on the track as we work lap 1. And let's see where we come around here. On Alpha Race Hub timing and scoring, Howerton able to check out a little bit over Johnson in that first lap. Eli Fox and Heber P4, P4, Wilbur P5. They're going to be looking to run down Howerton and Johnson. The question is, how mature can these young drivers be when looking at the racecraft scenario here? Obviously, racing out early in the event, it's going to slow these drivers down, maybe even allow Howerton and Johnson to create a little bit more of a gap back to P3 and make it a 2-driver race. That is not what Eli Fox wants. He's saying, push me, let's go to get them together. He's hoping that they can keep clean, single file for these first few laps, catch the 2 leaders, and let's go racing after that. 3 minutes and 40 seconds plus 2 laps left to go in this heat race 1 for 206 Medium. Now we'll start to see the karts coming in, see what drivers are really made of. And we are shuffling purple all the way down the order, and it looks like Braden Herber is going to go purple with a 50.1. That is 0.5 of a second faster than P1 and P2 on track right now. So we'll see if they can't reel these guys in, as it looks like Fox and Heber are right back to the rear bumper there of Braden Johnson, going down the back straightaway through the chicane and into that Monza corner here at Whiteland Raceway Park. Let's see if anybody moves to the inside as they go into the hairpin into the old sector of the track. They stay single file. Again, really mature, thoughtful racecraft from these drivers as we see them staying patient, staying single file, and hoping to race towards the latter half of the event, separating themselves from that mid-pack group a little bit, making sure to minimize the damage of hard wheel-to-wheel racing. Corkindale goes fastest in that last lap, 49.76, 0.5 of a second faster than your leaders. So we're seeing these karts in the second half of this group really outpacing our leaders. We'll be surprised if we don't see Eli Fox say, I'm done waiting. Let's go for a move to the inside here. Going into that hairpin after the Monza bank here. Let's see how it shakes out. If these guys start battling, certainly Landon, Hanville, and Barrett are hoping that they can slow each other down enough that they can catch back up to this group. As we see Eli Fox just again patient, staying in line. Braden Johnson pushing him up as they come back onto the main straightaway, working lap number 4. 1 minute and 40 seconds plus 2 laps to go as Eli Fox goes fastest. 48.93. That is a full second faster than our leader right now. So Eli Fox really looking to make quick work of our race leader, see if he can't gap him before these drivers in third back start going to work on Eli, hoping to not lose any positions here in this race, especially early on. While being patient, sometimes it's also important to defend by being aggressive. As we see these guys just stay in line one more time through as they work this tight infield sector of the track. And a move to the inside for Eli Fox. He makes it stick right back in line. Let's see if Braden Johnson can capitalize on that run and make a move into turn 1. Will he follow Eli through? As Fox goes purple again, 48.93. And it looks like a few moves to the inside there. Johnson gets shuffled back. Braden Johnson shuffled back by, it looks like, Heber there, splitting the group up as Eli Fox leads this train through the infield sector back onto the rear straightaway with a great run, able to pull about a 1 race car lead over Howerton. We'll see if Howerton sucks it right back up before they get to the chicane and pushes Fox a little bit wide going into the Monza. That'll kill his momentum as they go into the hairpin here, and they stay in line again. Really solid racecraft. 30 seconds left on the board. It will be close as to whether this will show 2 or 3 laps to go as Howerton puts a move back to Eli Fox. Howerton to the point as they work 19 seconds. 2 laps to go for your leader, Jared Howerton. Johnson moves back, and it looks like Heber looking to the inside of Fox. They're going to give Howerton a bit of a safety blanket here as Howerton stays clean through that sector. Eli Fox back into second. Braden Johnson moves his way back up into P3 as they work through this infield section back onto the racetrack. Eli Fox taps the side of his helmet. Let's be smart, fellas, and catch back up to Jared Howerton and see if we can't finish it out. 3 laps to go on the timing. 3 laps to go on the official timing. Again, functions of time. We race to the checkered flag, so as soon as the checkered flag's displayed, that'll be the end of the race, and these drivers are going to get an update on whether it's 2 laps to go or 1 lap to go this time by. 1 lap to go on track. 1 lap from your starter as Jared Howerton leads them to the point. One more time, down to the bottom, defensive line. Eli Fox, unable to make a move there, carries the momentum into turn 2. Is he going to be able to set him up out of 2 into 3? A little bit of a nose there from Eli Fox. Going to stay in line, hoping to carry that momentum, I guarantee, into that tight infield sector later in this lap. Final lap, Eli Fox able to stay right on the rear bumper of Jared Howerton, but under tons of pressure. Eli Fox goes to the inside, and there's a driver off Howerton. Off in the grass, Braden Johnson moves up into P2. This race just got interesting as Eli Fox gets a massive gap back to Braden Johnson, taking advantage of that mistake there by Howerton, and we'll see how they come to the checkered flag this time by. Eli Fox brings him to the point, and a driver off back there coming out of turn 10. Exciting racing here for 206 Medium Heat Race 1. Coming home with the victory, Eli Fox, followed by Braden Johnson. McCorkindale will round out your top 3 on track. Braden Heber is P4, Levi Wilbur P5, Gavin Baird P6, Kyle Landon rounding out your top 7, followed by Jared Howerton, Braden Mayfield, Brady Sappenfield, Rodolfo Galacia, Gage Justiniano, Michael Greenwood, Brennan Hanville, and Eric Spilling rounding out your top 15. Wow, just killer action. Can't wait to see the replay from this one. Back into the replay. Good green start. Everybody getting through safely in turn 1. A little bit of 3-wide contact there towards the back as we see Howerton make the jump. Howerton, a little bit disastrous at the end of this race. Unfortunately got shuffled back after a dominant performance in that iCart out front. Homage to the late great Mr. Martin of Indianapolis Kart, the American-made racing chassis, as we see Eli Fox and New Gen Motorsports putting pressure on him here, heavy in the middle of the race. Braden Johnson and that AMAX-powered machine close there, ready to capitalize. Here we're going to see a move to the inside for Fox. That's the move for the race lead. And take it back as we see these drivers shuffling one after another through this race. Just excellent wheel-to-wheel action. Let's see if we get a good look on the replay of this last lap as we see drivers changing position. Here we go, a move back on Eli Fox. Eli Fox back to second. And we are going to look and see if we can't find out what happened to Howerton. A little bit of side-by-side shuffle there between Eli Fox and kart number, it looks like 8 of Heber. And Braden Johnson going to take advantage of that as they work their way onto that back straightaway. And we don't really see what's going to happen here. A little bit of wheel drop there going into the Monza. Right, we're looking for the next lap. There it is. A little bit of side-by-side. Just ran wide into the dirt. Just wide into the apex of the Monza, and it's going to be enough to kill that momentum. Those drivers are going to lose a bunch of positions as they get ready to finish that last lap. Big shakeup in the points there, and these drivers will be looking to finish the action off in the final event later this afternoon. Another big off there, the exit of the fresh curbing there here at Whiteland Raceway Park. An exciting race in 206 medium, and we are going to get lined up now for 206 junior heat 1 here at Whiteland Raceway Park. The 206 junior contingent nice and bunched up, looking to get the green flag this time by 7 drivers in the 206 junior category. As we are approaching the start-finish line, they will funnel onto the straightaway into the tram lanes, and we'll see if we can't go green flag racing right now. Staff showing these drivers to slow down and stay composed as they funnel into the tram lanes, looking for a green flag from our starter. Out of the tram lanes for off pole. It's going to be 3 wide into turn 1. As they go back single file, double file back for 3rd and 5th. And we'll see where they shake out, leaving this infield sector of the new circuit. Trying to pick up a kart number. It looks like Johnson to the point. Able to check out under immense pressure there from Pfister. We will see where they end up after this first lap. Johnson a little bit defensive into that infield hairpin. Little bit of a bump there from Pfister as they go into the old sector of the racetrack. Tight corners, hard on the brakes, outlap. And everybody seems to make it through cleanly here as we come back onto the main straightaway. We will see where these guys shook out after that opening lap. Right now it is Johnson in first, Payne in second, my apologies, Pfister back to 3rd, Utzi P4, Patton P5, Lacer P6, and Hardin P7. As we see these young drivers nose to tail working lap number 2. Payne in the white and red New Gen colors, putting tons of pressure on Johnson to see if he can't move up early in this race, working 3 minutes and 50 seconds plus 2 laps. And we will see how they shake out. 2 groups, one for 1st and 2nd, one for 3rd and 4th. And we will watch these battles unfold over the next 5 minutes or so of heat race action. A little bit of a gap there for Johnson. Better on the brakes, better through the infield. We'll see if he can keep that gap over Payne as they head back out onto the main straightaway. Utzi goes fastest with a 50.96. 0.3 of a second faster than P2. 0.2 of a second faster than P1. And he's close enough to reel those guys in, just a second behind our leader. So we'll see if Utzi can't work his way up to Payne and Johnson and get involved, as he's right to the rear bumper of Payne already. Utzi from back in the pack to the rear bumper of Payne in P3, and he's putting pressure on him. We'll see if Utzi wants to make quick work of Payne and see if he can't catch up to Johnson here through this infield sector. Utzi to the inside. Oh, he's through. A little bit off the exit there for Payne. Dropping a tire. He's going to lose a few race car lengths as Johnson and Payne lead the field around and up to work lap number 3. 3 minutes plus 2 laps here in this 206 Junior Heat 1. Tyler Johnson clicking off consistent laps as we see Yutzi fastest by almost 7/10 of a second that last lap. Yutzi is going to reel Johnson in quickly if he can maintain that pace, as it looks like he's already put himself just about 1 race car length back as they head into that tight hairpin into the old infield sector of the racetrack. Yutzi looking to the inside of Johnson, not able to make it happen. Yutzi full send, and he's through. Yutzi to the lead. Lap 3 completed. Let's call it lap 4. Christopher Yutzi in the lead. Tyler Johnson back through for the lead. Tyler Johnson says, we're not staying here for long. Yutzi back underneath Johnson into turn 2. A little bit of side pod wheel-to-wheel action. Johnson's on the inside. He makes it stick. Great defensive driving from Tyler Johnson to stay in the lead. He says, if you want it, you're going to have to work harder than that. Yutzi funnels right back in line, right back to the rear bumper of Tyler Johnson as they head through the chicane into the Monza corner and under. Heavy braking into the hairpin. Yutzi throws it to the inside. He's through. Make it stick. Yutzi back to the point. Lap 4, 206 Junior, Heat 1 at IKC. Yutzi a little bit of a defensive line there through the infield sector, not wanting to give Tyler Johnson the room to get back through underneath him as they work lap 5. Christopher Yutzi looks behind his shoulder to see where Tyler Johnson's at. He knows he's under pressure, and he knows Tyler Johnson's going to want that spot back. 30 seconds plus 2 laps left in this race. Tyler Johnson all over the rear bumper of Yutzi, putting pressure on him, filling up his mirrors, so to speak, as Yutzi keeps looking behind him to see where Johnson's at. All that's telling Johnson is that Yutzi's ready for him to make a move. Yutzi, good run through the Monza bank. We'll see if he's close enough to make anything happen here in the hairpin. No, they stay single file into the infield sector as Yutzi leads them around one more time. 5 seconds left on the clock. They'll get 2 to go from our starter, this time by Yutzi to the point. Tyler Johnson in second. Gabriel Payne in third. So Yutzi and Johnson able to check away. 2 to go from your starter. Let's see if Johnson can work his way back as Yutzi goes a 50.9 to Tyler Johnson's 51.0. They're separated by just half of a second here, not even 0.3 of a second, as they work lap number 6. 2 laps remaining. Yutzi in the AMAX machine to the point. Tyler Johnson in P2. Yutzi tucks back down behind that steering wheel, looking to pull a few race car gap on Tyler Johnson as they work 2 laps to go. A little bit of a bigger gap back to Gabriel Payne. Kart set up for earlier in the race. After that tire drop, we wonder if he lost a little bit of pace there. Yutzi able to pull about a 6 car length lead through the infield sector on Johnson as Yutzi brings him around. White flag is out for Christopher Yutzi. Last lap looks like a great battle there between Lacer, Patton, and Harden towards the back, and Cammy Pfister there in 4th. We'll see who can bring home the good starting spots here for the final later today, as Yutzi is putting on a clinic. He works his way through the field, gets out to the point, and then pulls almost a second gap in 3 laps. Last lap here for Chris Yutzi. Through the Monza one last time. Heavy brakes into the hairpin as we get some side-by-side action further back. Cammy Pfister holding off the likes of Lacer and Patton. Are they going to be able to bring home P4 in this Heat Race 1? Get themselves that second row starting spot as we see Yutzi bringing it onto the front straightaway. Checkered flag for Chris Yutzi, winner in 206 Junior Heat number 1, followed by Tyler Johnson and Gabriel Payne rounding out your top 3 side by side. Cammy Pfister able to get it done, P4, with Lucian Lacer in P5, Evan Patton in P6, and Colin Harden rounding out your top 7 here in this 206 Junior Heat Race number 1, the Indy Karting Challenge. We're going to take another look at that opening lap here as we see Johnson get a good jump. We're going to have to take a look at that tram lane there on the off pole. We will see what race control says. Meanwhile, Yutzi able to put a big move, little bit of a pod there at the exit. Again, that is all part of the racing. Yutzi beat him down to the apex, and we will see now Yutzi make another flawless move to take the lead there over Johnson, and then was able to just hold him off. Johnson, aggressive move back by, able to make it stick. A little bit of back and forth here with Yutzi, and Johnson goes the long way around the outside and is able to keep the inside line into the next corner and onto the back straightaway. Johnson, a phenomenal defensive display there as Yutzi able to move over and go just a little bit deeper on the brakes into that hairpin. A more committable pass there going into that infield sector, less likely to get the crossover as we see Yutzi walk away there and bring home the heat race number 1 win. And that's a close battle there between 4th, 5th, and 6th as we get back to on-track action here with 206 Masters. 206 Masters presented by Schaefer. 35 years of age and over, with an exception for 30 years and older if the driver is 200 pounds solo with equipment. And we will see how this big field of Masters drivers gets off here for 206 Masters heat race number 1 at Whiteland Raceway Park. Saw a lot of these names earlier today in the 206 heavy group. Great wheel-to-wheel racing so far this weekend, and we can't wait to get underway here to do it all again in 206 Masters heat race number 1 at Whiteland Raceway Park. Pole sitter with his hand in the air signaling that we are slowing down. Nice slow start as they'll get the A-OK from the IKC staff there on the front straight and head out into the main circuit to take to the tram lanes and hope to get a green flag this time by. We'll see if the starter's happy with the formation. We're underway. Green flag for 206 Masters heat race number 1 at Whiteland Raceway Park. Little bit of side pod banging there from third on back. We'll see how it shakes out as they leave the tight infield sector of the new part of the circuit, through the double lefts and back onto the back straightaway, headed into the chicane and then over to the Monza. Masters drivers tend to have a more solid background of racecraft, a little bit more patient, and we are seeing some good side-by-side action here in the first few corners. Everybody goes single file, and a new leader, slide job, kart number 1. Swift takes back over the spot in P1 and is unable to make it stick, it looks like, as they swap spots back. We'll look to our Alpha Race Hub timing app to see how they sort it out, but I believe that's right. Dietz able to come through P1 that lap. Dietz up into the point, and we're changing positions again. The top 3 nose to tail as they enter the new sector of the track again, through the technical double rights, setting up wide, back for the left, and then another left onto the back straightaway. Great run onto the back straight for Dietz as we see him able to pull a 4 to 5 car length lead over Hastings, just getting back into the new section of the track, off the banking and into the tight hairpin. They close that gap right back up. These 206s, it's so hard to get any sort of a gap built up over the pack behind you, especially once you get into that fast back straightaway. The arrow will allow the drivers to suck right back up to each other, as we'll get a little bit of a better idea here on screen once we cross this for lap number 2, as we see Swift set up a little bit wide, looking under Dietz. Is he going to be able to make it work in turn 1? He is. Looks like Swift to the point. Dietz in second, Hastings in third, Geist in fourth, and Ty Guernsey rounding out your top 5 as they are nose to tail with the top 7-8 drivers as they work their way onto the back straight. Late over under there for Swift. Let's see if he can make it happen. That's not Swift. I think that's Derek Hastings over under, and he's able to make it work. They're back to single file through the Monza turn. Working lap number 2. 3 minutes plus 2 laps to go. Adam Dietz still out front. Looks like Hastings P2, Swift P3, Geist P4, Guernsey still P5. A little bit more shaking and dicing, and we'll see where they come out as they cross the start-finish line here for lap number 3. 2 laps down, third lap underway. Adam Deitz with a good, solid 0.6 of a second lead over Derek Hastings. Ron Swift right to the rear bumper. Matt Geist P4. Swanson works his way up into P5 as they are shaking things up. A little bit of a four-car breakaway there with that first group. Geist hoping to capitalize on his performance this morning and bring home some more hardware today. 1, 2, 3, 4. Another position change into the chicane, through the Monza, and into the infield, nose to tail. First through fourth. This is some great wheel-to-wheel racing. Adam Dietz under pressure from Hastings. We'll see how they shake out as they come back around across the finish line. Again, Adam Dietz. Ron Swift up to P2. Ron Swift goes purple and puts a look on Dietz. Is he going to be able to make it happen? Dietz around the outside. Ron's going to make it stick. Ron keeps the momentum, able to move down and take the line from Dietz. Ron Swift to the point here as we work lap number 4. Ron Swift, a little bit too much curb going onto that back straightaway. We've been talking about it all day. It kills the momentum in these 206 karts, and really Dietz is able to suck right back up to the rear bumper. No advantage for Ron Swift doing that, guys. As we see them shake up positions a little bit, looks like Matt Geist able to work his way up into P3 as they work the old infield sector of the racetrack. Narrow turn entry for Ron Swift, hoping to keep Adam Dietz and Matt Geist at bay. Back onto the front straightaway, working lap number 5, 40 seconds plus 2 laps to go for Ron Swift in P1. Ron Swift absolutely consistent here as he works through that infield sector in the new part of the racetrack. Good run out onto the back straightaway. Won't make that mistake twice. No curb for Ron Swift that time, as Dietz just a car length or two back. Good push from Matt Geist, and they're going to catch back up to Ron, going through the Monza and into the hairpin. Are we going to see any moves for the lead? No, they stay in line. 8 seconds left on the clock. We'll see 2 to go this time by for Ron Dietz. Ron Swift, Adam Dietz at P2, Matt Geist in P3, Derek Hastings rounds out your top 4, that front pack you see on your screen there. And a big flip, we've got a driver up and over. He's out of the kart safe, off the racetrack, appears to be okay. We hate to see it, it's the reason we buy expensive helmets, guys. That's a great way to get out of the kart, way to get off the track to safety. Unfortunate situation, but the IKC track staff quick to respond, quick to get over and help those drivers as they help each other out, it seems. And we are yellow coming through the final sector of the track as we get back over to the front pack. Ron Swift able to maintain the front of this pack. Geist up to second in that incident we had there. Now the drivers are under yellow, so from here on out, we're in a yellow sector. They can't pass until they're past the incident. So they're going to stay single file, which is going to leave it all to the last lap. As we see a move, they're under yellow. They're not past the incident yet, so that's going to be under review certainly. As we see Ron Swift leads him to the white flag. Matt Geist up to P2, Adam Deitz in P3, Derek Hastings rounding out your top 4, and he lost a little bit of position there. Looks like it's going to be Ron Swift and Matt Geist battling for this final here. Adam Dietz hoping they get together soon so that he has an opportunity to pick up that little bit of dead track in between them and catch back up before they get back to that yellow sector. If the yellow's not cleared, that could play a factor in this finale. Let's see if Matt is able to make the move here, looking into this hairpin to the inside. Matt, not a good run. And wow, what a display of sportsmanship from Matt Geist, putting his hand out to signal to the race official that he understands there's a yellow flag, he understands the incident, and he's fine with bringing P2 home in this heat race. Bravo, hats off to Matt Geist and the entire field for keeping the racetrack safe here, getting through that last sector. Really an outstanding display of sportsmanship that the entire sport as a whole should be taking a note of. Brilliant racing. Unfortunate incident there for the driver to go up and over. Glad he's okay and on his feet. And we'll get back to the racing here shortly once we get this track cleared. As we will get a race review of this exciting 206 Masters heat race number 1 here, the Indy Karting Challenge. We see some moves up front. Big slide job to the inside for Swift as they are shaking, does not make the pass stick, and back to the infield. I'm sorry, that's Swift there to the inside. It is hard to see the kart numbers on the screen here, but that's a great pass into turn 1 for Ron Swift as we see these drivers drop a little bit of tire coming out of that infield sector. Big setup onto the straightaway, and a good move inside to the point for Swift. Takes the lead over Hastings. Hastings gets shuffled back a little bit as we see Matt Geist working his way up towards the front of the pack. Good, concise racecraft out of these drivers, not taking too many risks, not making passes that are going to slow them down and make them lose that front group. Able to stay together. Really smart racecraft. There's that big take over the curb we talked about. Losing just a little bit of momentum, and here we're going to get a replay of the flip. Oh man, so unfortunate. Sometimes just wheel to wheel, that's one of the risks of racing, right? It looked like nobody at fault in that situation. Side-by-side racing, and just an unfortunate outcome for a driver to go upside down. Thankfully, okay, able to walk off the track under his own power, and that's going to be one that driver will certainly share on Facebook later to make all his friends know how tough this race was for him. Glad the driver's okay. Glad everyone was able to get out of that situation all right. And again, hats off to Swift, Geist, and Dietz. The level of class to put your hand in the air when you see the yellow flag and to not race on the last lap of a race like that. Absolute example to be set for young drivers, and so proud of those guys for putting on a show like that here at Whiteland. We are back on track for KA Senior. Miami Karting Australia 100cc engine power plant. KA Senior brought to you by Caribbean Royale. And KA Masters also on track, brought to you by Track Systems North America. These groups combined, both utilizing the Miami KA 100 power plant, as we see these drivers begin to slow up through the infield and form so they can see if we can't get the green flag this time by. Tons of experience out of these young racers, as we see Austin Olds on the point, the Race Factory MPG driver, bringing everyone around into the tram lanes, looking for a green flag. Gibbs off pole for an MPG Race Factory lockout. Let's see if we can't go green flag racing. And we're underway. Green flag for KA Senior and KA Masters Heat 1. 3 wide there in the back. A little bit of wheel hop and excitement as they shake through turn 2. They end up single file. Good jump for Austin Olds to get out to the point. We'll see if they can all make it onto the back straightaway in one piece. Austin Olds already pulling a 5 to 7 car length lead as he works through the chicane into the Monza bank. Great display. Cars sideways through the chicane as they shake 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in a row. Single file as they head into that infield sector of the racetrack. Jackson Deal up a few positions there, it looks like. Gibbs able to maintain position. We'll see where they come across here on the Alpha Race Hub app with the live timing. Austin Olds on the point, followed by Gibbs, Deal, Lund, Surgener, Steins, McIntosh, Boyaldis, Lundgren, Nelson, Finley, Perry, Fairfield, Gundolf, and we are rounding out your top 15. Yellow flags there in the new sector of the track as they exit, and the yellows are gone. Track is clear. Austin Olds with a huge gap out to the lead in just the first lap and a half of this race. 4 minutes and 2 laps to go here for KA Senior. Good battle there for P2 as we see a move to the inside, late slide, and it looks like that's going to be Jackson Deal into second place, and Gibbs is going to lose another one. The young Top Kart driver there in the white helmet, able to take advantage of the move by Jackson Deal, follow him on through. as we'll see them shake back out on the main straightaway. Austin Olds goes purple, and someone took it. Boyedas took it. 45.0 from Boyedas as he comes across purple lap number 2 in P7. Austin Olds still a huge gap out front. Back to Lund and Jackson Deal in P2. Lane Gibbs, P4. Surgener rounding out your top 5. Man, the wheel-to-wheel action in these KA karts is just phenomenal. This is by far the biggest two-stroke category racing across the country right now, and we are seeing some of the best drivers from around the country duke it out right now just south of Indianapolis here at Whiteland Raceway Park. Austin Olds with a great opening sector of this event as he makes a good effort to pull a 15 car length lead. Lund up into second. Jackson Deal still able to maintain P3. Lane Gibbs P4. Charlie Steins moves up ahead of Mason Surgener into P5 there that last lap as we work 2 minutes and 30 seconds plus 2 laps to go on the clock here. Austin Olds to the point in KA Stars. Austin Olds, big gap back to AJ Lund. AJ Lund, big gap back to Jackson Deal. It looks like, although they may have changed positions there on track, that looks like it may be Jackson Deal up to P2. We'll see as they come across the stripes this time. Indeed, Jackson Deal up in position to P2. AJ Lund P3. Mason Surgener up to P4 ahead of Charlie Steins. They are shaking this top 5 up. Right now, Austin Olds putting on an absolute masterclass in composure and consistency in these first few laps of the race. Working lap number 4 right now. Austin Olds, not the fastest race car on the track, as Jackson Deal goes at 43.7. Almost a full second faster that last lap over Austin Olds in P2 for Jackson Deal. AJ Lund also putting the hard pace on 44.8, just 1/10 off of Deal. They are nose to tail. Good racing here in the mid-pack as well as we see a driver take a little bit too much exit curbing. Jackson Deal onto the straightaway, followed closely by AJ Lund. That's the battle for second place and the closest we have in the top 3. Just half a second back from AJ Lund. It may look like a lot of gap on the racetrack. It may sound like a lot of time lost, but one mistake from Jackson Deal and Lund will be able to close that gap up immediately, especially on a shorter racetrack like Whiteland Raceway Park here. It certainly enhances the mistakes made by young drivers as we take a look a little bit further back to wheel-to-wheel action here in the mid-pack. Unable to get kart numbers on those drivers as we see them go through the hairpin. Much different braking characteristics under power in these KA100 platform karts over the 206 categories we've seen the majority of the day. KA100 making roughly 10 horsepower more than the 206s. Again, tons of top speed difference, tons of raw pace, and just the amount of braking force that these drivers are applying as they go into that hairpin off the back straight. Really impressive to see the drivers maintain kart control as we see Austin Olds there just rip into the Monza Bank here at Whiteland Raceway Park, the oldest operating kart track in the country. And great to have young drivers like Austin Olds here competing at a legendary, historic track like this. Austin Olds working lap number 5 as he'll come around here for lap number 6. Do we get 2 to go this time by? 2 to go on the timing. Cannot see the head flagman, but thinking Austin Olds may have just gotten 2 to go. Jackson Deal goes purple, able to open up an even bigger gap to Lund behind. 0.3 of a second quicker Jackson Deal than Lund that last lap. Steins able to maintain P4 over Surgener. Gibbs P6, Lundgren P7, McIntosh P8, Austin Fairfield P9. Blake Finley rounding out your top 10 here in KA Senior. An absolute gapper by Austin Olds here in the Race Factory MPG machine under the guidance of Billy Vincent, Chase Jones, and Race Barante. Absolute masterclass here in a league of his own, able to check out almost 20 car lengths, a full 2.7 seconds back to his teammate Jackson Deal there in P2. Jackson Deal even able to open up a gap over AJ Lund, as we'll see this last lap in the top 3 just clicking off laps. Just need to be consistent, keep your nose clean these last few laps as we see the real battle heating up back for what is P4, 5, and 6. a little bit closer together. Steins, Surgener, and Gibbs all in attack mode as they enter the infield sector here for the last time in this heat race. Is Gibbs close enough to put a move on Surgener? It does not look like it. Is Austin Olds takes the checkered flag. Austin Olds, your winner in KA Senior, heat number 1 at IKC. Jackson Deal and AJ Lund round out your top 3. Mason Surgener able to come home P4 ahead of Charlie Steins and Lane Gibbs. Nick Lundgren P7. Austin Fairfield able to work his way up to P8. Blake Finley P9. Bane Bennett up to the 10th. And that will round out your top 10 in this KA Senior, KA Masters heat race number 1. Awesome racing here in this category. An exciting outlap, which I'm sure we'll get to see here momentarily in this replay as we see some slide action here mid-race. Big slide job from Austin Fairfield to take over a position there. It looks like that's what got him up into the 8th position. And now we're back to the start of the race. 3 wide, many rows deep here as we see a Kart big jump over the tires there mid-pack. That's going to slow him down. He lost some spots there as we see 2 drivers retire there on that outlap. That's Kart number 5. These are, I believe, Masters drivers. I'm not even showing them right now in the provisional timing results. So we'll have to take a look back and get you guys those names. In the meantime, let's look at the battle here between Jackson Deal. Big mistake there going into the Monza. Able to lose a position. We're seeing these K100 karts as they go through that chicane, much higher pace than the 206 and way harder to maintain the kart underneath the driver going into that Monza. There's that big move again in the mid-pack from what I believe is Austin Fairfield, sliding into 8th position as we wrap up the replay here on the K100 Senior and Masters heat race number 1. Next group on the track
Why are there all
is
these
going
charges
to
for
be
just
206
over $200
Sportsman
from
for their
Acceleration
final
Kart Racing's website?
event of the
That's
day.
'cause AKR
206
gives you free
Sportsman
shipping on
the
orders
grid.
of $200 or more within the continental U.S.
Okay, but I thought you were just getting a pair of gloves. That's what, 70 bucks?
But if I'm getting a new pair of gloves, I might as well get a new pair of shoes to match. And then on top of that, I'll get a neck brace because with the shipping, it's basically free.
Yeah, I do not think the math checks out on that.
Everything you need, all in one place and shipped to your door for free for orders of $200 or more. Exclusions apply. Spend responsibly. Shop AKR.com.
We're at a commercial break.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the afternoon group of the Indy Karting Challenge, round number 2 at Whiteland Raceway Park. We're seeing some replays now from the excitement in heat number 1 for the afternoon group. Great racing so far today, as we've seen drivers battle the adverse conditions after the rainfall last night. Big flips, big moments, and overall some amazing wheel-to-wheel action here at Whiteland Raceway Park. We are excited to get back to the action with the first of our final events for the afternoon group. 206 Sportsman, presented by Ghost Racing. 8 to 12-year-old drivers competing using the Briggs 206 power plant. Again, if you are following from at home, be sure to follow along on social media as well. Race WRP on Facebook and Instagram. Whiteland Raceway Park on YouTube. Home of the Indy Karting Challenge, the official club program of Whiteland Raceway Park under the leadership of Joe Janowski, Matt Burpo, and Vince Haddon. So we see the young drivers eagerly awaiting their turn to take to the racing circuit. Last night's storms brought interesting conditions this morning with mixed race surfaces. Qualifying for the morning groups taking place in the wet. First round of heats, changing track, and it really brought out the best in some of these young drivers, as we have seen nothing but blue skies this afternoon. Here we have a view from last night of the intense storms that shook southern Indianapolis, and we are thankful that they have moved on past, and we have a blue sunny sky above us for the finals today. 75 degrees here in Whiteland, Indiana, my apologies, as we get ready to get underway with the first final in our afternoon group. 206 Sportsmen, 8 to 12 years of age. These young drivers likely in their second or third year of karting competition, just one group above the 206 Cadet category, learning the ropes here at Whiteland Raceway Park, learning the functions of racing, racecraft, and how to go fast in a race car. These young drivers, full of talent, full of opportunity, and we are ready for them to put on a show for all of you watching live at home with us on Kart Chaser, and for those of you tuning in from here in the paddock. We are just moments away from releasing the grid, as we can see the drivers for the next two categories sitting there waiting for their turn to take back to the racetrack. 1 more minute till we're on track for 206 Sportsman, final event, IKC Round 2. As we see the grid steward give the signal to fire them up, we are ready to hit the track for the final event of the day for 206 Sportsman drivers. Waiting for the all clear as we see mechanics and crew chiefs back out of the way, and these young drivers ready to take to the track. We are underway for main event afternoon action here at Whiteland Raceway Park for round 2 of the Indy Karting Challenge. .206 Sportsman. Deep talent in this field as we see these young drivers making their way through the ranks and learning the ways of karting. My apologies, trying to pull up the race results here, unable to find this category in Discord to give you guys a race preview. but they are formed up and ready to go as we're going to kick off the finals. 206 Sportsman here. P1 is scrubbing the tires, putting a little bit of temperature in those tires, maybe cleaning off the marbles as they come off that back straight. And we are seeing a little bit of a bunch up as the driver is taking us to heart when we say we want nice slow starts. Maybe a little bit early to slow down this much, but we will get them over through this infield sector and onto the straightaway, looking for a green flag this time by. O'Gara showing Gaddis a symbol to slow down a little bit, wanting to keep them tight through the pack as it looks like they're shuffling in order a little bit further back in the group. And they are ready to get underway, these drivers looking to get a green flag and go racing. Gaddis, O'Gara, the front row, followed by Fetchinger and Roberts in row 2, Thomas and Lappin in row 3, Taylor and Sears making up row 4, Stoner and Willie making up row number 5, as we are coming onto that front straightaway, looking to get a green flag after funneling into the tram lanes. And let's see if we can get the green flag on the first go. Incredibly slow start here, as we see a change in the order. It looks like we are seeing a little bit of a shuffle towards the back of the pack. Hopefully they are good to go this time by. Split into the tram lanes. We are green. Green flag. 206 Sportsman final for round 2 of the IKC at Whiteland Karting. And O'Gara gets a little bit of a shuffle back from Fetchinger, able to stick through to P2. Gaddis to the point as they head through the infield sector and onto the back straightaway. Gaddis pulls a 3-4 race car lead over O'Gara in the opening sector. O'Gara on the top end sucks right back up to the rear bumper of Gaddis as they go through the chicane into the Monza, and O'Gara looking to the inside. O'Gara through to the lead. Gaddis P2, Fetchinger in P3. Fetchinger looks to the outside of Gaddis. Is he going to be able to make it work to the infield? No. Back to the inside. Fetchinger side by side with Gaddis. Who's going to come out, giving O'Gara just enough breathing room to come to the point. 5-car length lead as they wrap up turn 1 and work lap number 2. 8 minutes plus 2 laps to go for Danny O as he leads the group 15 deep to start their second lap of the final race here at IKC at Whiteland Raceway Park. O'Gara, Gaddis, Thomas, your top 3. It looks like Fetchinger a little bit of a shuffle back, maybe makes his way back up into the top 3. Hard to see off the screen here. We'll get an update for you guys on our Alpha Timing scoring hub as soon as we get these drivers back over to the start-finish line. Single file, wheel-to-wheel action. O'Gara a little bit of a gap back to Gaddis as Gaddis under tons of pressure there from Fetchinger and Thomas. We will see if anyone makes a move through this infield sector. No, they're going to stay in line and try to run down Danny O'Gara as they start lap number 3 here. And we're going to see the ticker come up from Alpha. Danny O'Gara P1, Dominic Gaddis P2, Will Fetchinger up to P3, Dylan Thomas P4, Austin Taylor rounding out your top 5. O'Gara clicking off consistent laps here, maintaining that 4-car length lead as we see him work through that new infield section onto the back straightaway. Good run for O'Gara as Fetchinger goes fastest that second lap, 50.6, 3.5 tenths quicker than your leader Danny O'Gara, and almost 5 tenths quicker than P2 of Dominic Gaddis. We'll see if Will Fetchinger is able to capitalize on that. And Fetchinger off the outside of the racetrack. Oh, we missed something there. Fetchinger moved wide off into the marbles and into the cones as we see a new driver move his way up into P3. We'll get a name on that in just one moment as they come onto the front straightaway, working lap number 4. And that looks like Lappin. Jordan Lappin up to P3. Gaddis and P2. O'Gara just extending his lead with a now 1.6 second gap back to Gaddis, working lap number 3. 6 minutes and 2 laps left for Danny O as he goes through the infield and back onto the back straightaway. Big run and a massive lead already in this final event for Danny O'Gara. Through the chicane into the Monza. A little bit of a battle for a second there as we see Lappin putting the pressure on the back of Gaddis. Will he make a move going into the hairpin before we get back to the infield sector of the old track? No, they'll stay single file. Gaddis P2, Lappin P3. They're going to try to push to catch O'Gara. Smart, mature racecraft out of these young drivers as we see Dylan Thomas and Austin Taylor able to catch back up to the back. Austin Taylor moving into P3, some shake-up there. It seems off-screen, maybe just a timing pickup. We're seeing still Gaddis and Lappin in P2 and P3. We'll catch that name when they come back around next time by. Danny O'Gara still out front, working lap number 4. 5 laps and 5 minutes plus 2 laps left to go in this main event for 206 Sportsman. Longer sessions, more patience out of these drivers, and a different kart setup. Drivers need to decide with their mechanics whether they want the kart to come in at the beginning of the race, middle, or end, and that is going to affect the outcome in their performance on these MG tires. The new SH2 compound is going to change in performance and drop off throughout these races. So what we're looking for is drivers, it looks like Lappin back up into P4 and goes purple, 49.7 for Jordan Lappin as we see the battle here between Austin Taylor and Gaddis for P2. Gaddis still to the point. Austin Taylor hard on the rear bumper, tons of pressure as they work through the infield and back out on the back straightaway. Lappin putting out mega pace that last lap, 49.7, 6.5 tenths quicker than your race leader, Danny O'Gara. Danny O'Gara out front all by himself, no rabbit to chase. We see often with these young drivers that if they don't have a kart to chase, they fall off on pace a little bit, as it seems like Danny O'Gara maintaining the gap back to Gaddis and Austin Taylor. The gap between Gaddis and Austin Taylor opening up back to Lappin, but Lappin, Gaddis goes quickest purple that time by 49.7, almost 7 tenths of a second quicker than Danny O'Gara that last lap. Dominic Gaddis with an absolute flyer from P2 here in this 206 Sportsman final. 3 minutes and 40 seconds plus 2 laps left to go in the final event for this group of the day. Danny O'Gara with a healthy lead as we see some shaking back towards the back of the pack. Max Zeal up a few spots into 12th position, and Nick Santos up into 11th as we see back to Austin Taylor and Dominic Gaddis. A close battle here for second position. This is certainly the one to watch. MPG Race Factory entries in those Kart Republic chassis under the same tent. I'm certain they've been given instructions by their team to race each other with respect. So we'll see if these young drivers are patient enough to wait for the last few laps and then go at it and see who's going to get that second step of the podium for this final event today. Little bit too much curb there from Austin Taylor. We've seen it hurt the 206s throughout the day. Those big CIK curbs really upsetting the kart, really pulling on the motors, on the revs, and really hurting the momentum in mid-corner and out. So these young drivers didn't seem to affect Taylor too much as they're on the brakes. A little bit of a bobble there out of Taylor as they work back into the old infield sector of the original circuit here at Whiteland Raceway Park. Back to Danny O'Gara, half a straightaway lead over Austin Taylor and Dominic Gaddis there in P2 and P3. They are close. Gaddis going to be patient, clicking off laps. Gaddis still fastest on track, 49.762. That last lap, Austin Taylor went a little bit faster. 3 tenths quicker that last lap for Austin Taylor. Again, just having that rabbit to chase the driver in front of him to gauge braking points and acceleration pickups off of can make a young driver really, really pick up some pace when they're out clicking off laps in long races like these. 1 minute and 30 seconds plus 2 laps left to go as we are working lap number 7, completing lap number 7, starting lap number 8 for Danny O'Gara. Danny O'Gara, no stranger to Whiteland Raceway Park, son of track owners Andy O'Gara and legendary IndyCar driver Sarah Fisher, as Danny O has tons of laps of this race circuit throughout his short career as a racing driver in just the 8 to 10-year-old age bracket, as we see him absolutely consistent, clicking off laps one after another. Gaddis still able to keep P2 over Taylor. a little bit more pace out of these two than Danny O'Gara, but he had a comfortable enough lead there at the beginning of the race that he should be okay, as we see Taylor put a little bit of a nose under Gaddis. Taylor finally takes his first look at his teammate for P2 as we work 30 seconds to go, plus 2 laps, 3 to go for Danny O'Gara. Defensive line for Gaddis into turn number 1. Austin Taylor, good job hanging back and keeping the momentum, as he's going to want to keep that speed going, rolling through this infield section. Little look back from Danny O'Gara to check how much breathing room he has. And the battle here is going to be between Dominic Gaddis and Austin Taylor for that second and third spot on the podium. Way defensive already for Gaddis. On the third lap to go, we're seeing Gaddis enter the corners a little bit narrow, way down to the bottom for Gaddis. And Gaddis is going to make it easy for Dylan Thomas and Jordan Lepland to catch their group. Gaddis, little defensive early, going to slow down both Gaddis and Taylor. And we're going to see if Dylan Thomas and Jordan Lepland have the pace to catch them in 2 laps to go. 2 laps to go for our race leader, Danny O'Gara. Gaddis down to the inside. Big, wide setup there for Austin Taylor. See if he has the run into turn number 2. No, he'll stay in line. 2, 3, 4, through the infield section and out onto the back straightaway for Gaddis and Taylor as they stay single file, making sure that second group of Jordan Lappin and Dylan Thomas are unable to catch them. A little bit defensive again from Dominic Gaddis as they go through the chicane and into the famous Monza turn here at Whiteland Raceway Park. Narrow entry for Gaddis as Austin Taylor right to the rear bumper. That last lap, the gap closed to under a second from Austin Taylor and Jordan Lapland up to the next group. So we will see if they are able to get to the rear bumper of Taylor. White flag is out for race leader Danny O'Gara as we see Gaddis go defensive again. Taylor, big late apex, unable to make the move, and still single file as we see that second group right to the back bumper. Thomas and Lappin gets a good run onto the back straightaway here. It looks like we're going to have some lap traffic to contend with as they enter the chicane, the worst place to catch lap traffic, and this is a 4-way race for third. Austin Taylor, Dylan Thomas, Jordan Lapper, and Dominic Gaddis all in this battle here as we see Thomas put a little bit of a look there to Taylor on the last lap. He's going to slide it in there together. Big shot collide for Austin Taylor and Dylan Thomas as Jordan Leppin goes through. Danny O'Gara takes the win in the 206 Sportsman final, followed by Gaddis. Lappin comes home in third. Elam Stoner comes in P4. Will Fetchinger works his way back up to round out your top 5. Titus Robert, P6. Kason Hendrickson, P7. Rhett Johnson, P8. Austin Taylor, P9. Looks like Nico Santos. Austin Taylor's still falling back down the order after that incident on the final lap there. That'll certainly be under review by race control as Nico Santos comes home P9 and Austin Taylor rounding out your top 10. Absolute masterclass here by Danny O'Gara, able to get out front early and just click off consistent race pace. Create a good gap between him and Gaddis in P2 and maintain that gap for a 4.5 second win over Gaddis. Let's take a look back at some of the best moments from this race as we see the start. Danny O'Gara had to work for it, gets shuffled back, has to throw a slide job there underneath the bumper of Fetchinger. They're able to get through cleanly, and here's where O'Gara makes the move for the lead. Big dive, and then Fetchinger out to the outside, not able to make it stick. Over under to the inside. Fetchinger not able to make through on the move on Gaddis there as Danny O'Gara goes to the point and opens that gap up quick. Big slide to the inside and a big hit there. We missed that the first time by. That's what took Fetchinger back to the back of the pack. The incident which put him out into the marbles, out into the cones, and cost him his chance at Danny O'Gara and his chance at this race. We'll see what else we have here as it looks like we have Gaddis and Taylor on the replay. Nose to tail the majority of this race. Tons of race pace, but not anything for Danny O'Gara. Just out front by himself. Unbelievable consistency out of this young driver as he's able to bring home another victory in the 2024 season. A little look there between MPG Race Factory teammates Gaddis and Taylor. as they work their way through. They ended up going defensive, caught lap traffic at a bad time, which allowed the second group to catch up to their rear bumpers on the last lap. Obviously, big shunt there on the last lap that will be under review from the driver in that second group, which unfortunately took Taylor from 3rd all the way back to 10th. I'm sure we're going to see it here on the replay coming up. This is the incident we're talking about. There was a gap there, unintentional, little bit of tire lockup, and just enough to get into the side of Austin Taylor. Unfortunate end for both of these young drivers in this last couple corners of this race. Great luck for the driver in 5th, who was able to come home with that last step on the podium. Here we have another angle. Again, just went for a gap, a little bit of brake lockup, and they got connected. Sometimes happens in racing. Not necessarily the fault of any driver, but nonetheless under review by race control as we get ready to get underway with our next main event here at round 2 of the Indy Karting Challenge at Whiteland Raceway Park. We are back trackside for round 2 of the Indy Karting Challenge at Whiteland Raceway Park for the final event of the 206 Cadet category. 206 Cadet presented by AMAX Racing, one of our home teams here at Whiteland Raceway Park, with a shop and full service center on site in our team garages. The drivers are working their way out onto the front stretch, the youngest of our contingent here in the standard categories, as we see them a little bit too much pace trying to get the slowdown from our track staff. We'll see if they send them this time by, and we're green. Underway racing for 206 Cadet presented by AMAX with Hudson Howard straight to the point, early lead, and opens up a quick 2-car gap through the infield sector over the driver in P2. Hudson Howard almost perfect on the day as we see him able to get out front quick and open up a little bit of a gap going down that back straightaway. We'll see where they shake out once they get through the chicane and into the Monza Bank for the first time, returning to the infield of the old track in this final event. The longer race format will certainly reward consistency, which is something Hudson Howard has displayed all day, as he's already opened up a few kart lengths a little bit early on the break there for Hudson, allows the driver in P2 to catch back up. We're going to get some names on that as soon as they cross the finish line here. Richard in P2, Hodges in P3, McNeely in P4, and Call rounding out your top 5, but nobody has anything for Hudson Howard. Hudson Howard, a little bit too much of the CIK curb there, going through that double left onto the back straightaway. That'll hurt his momentum, but not quite enough for Richard to pull that kart length lead back in that he has already gained. Hudson Howard, a little bit late apex there into the Monza Bank, and hard on the through the hairpin and into the classic Whiteland infield sector here. Hudson Howard already with a 7 kart length gap. Again, 7 kart lengths after Richards back to Hodges. As we pull up the ticker here from the Alpha Race Hub, Hudson Howard, purple, that time by with a 51.9. William Richard fast-paced for P2. Reagan Hodges 1 second back from Richards. Again, an equal gap from 1 to 2nd and 2nd to 3rd. As we see Patrick McNeely fall back just a little bit. trailed by Chase Call. Brett Hastings right there with him in 6th, and Kason Martin back in P7th. Good battle here towards the back for what looks like P4. We can catch back to that battle here as we go. P4 of McNeely holding off the push of Chase Call and Brett Hastings. As we take a look back at Hudson Howard absolutely checking out over P2 of William Richard. 2-second lead already, working lap number 3 for Hudson Howard in this 206 Cadet final. As we take a look back to the action, Hudson Howard already able to work up a 3.5-second lead over P2 of William Richards. William Richards under pressure now from Reagan Hodges, able to close that gap and put a little bit of pressure on for P2. Good battle here between William Richard and Reagan Hodges as they work through the hairpin and into that tight older sector of the racetrack. Big time gained under braking there for Reagan Hodges as they work back out onto the main straightaway, completing lap number 4, working lap number 5. 4 minutes and 30 seconds plus 2 laps to go here in the 206 Cadet final as we see Hudson Howard out front, son of IndyCar driver Jay Howard, 2005 Formula Ford Z-Tech, now the USF 2000 champion, 2006 Indy Lights champion, and up into IndyCar at a successful bout through the mid-2010s, and now runs a open wheel racing team and takes his son Hudson racing go-karts, which we love to see. William Richard under tons of pressure here from Reagan Hodges. They stay single file through the hairpin and back into that infield sector. Wheel to wheel here, just under half a second between William Richard and Reagan Hodges at the line. Last time by, I'd venture to say it's under a tenth of a second now as we see these drivers nose to tail coming back onto the front straightaway. Hudson Howard goes fastest that last lap, 51.362, a second overall pace per lap over P2 and P3, as he's just going to continue to check out and click off consistent laps here like he's been doing all day here for round 2 of the IKC at Whiteland Raceway Park. William Richard under tons of pressure still as they come onto the back straightaway from Reagan Hodges through the chicane and into the Monza corner. That Monza corner seems to be a place where Reagan Hodges is really gaining on William Richard, possibly setting up an out-braking maneuver into that hairpin in the latter section of the circuit. 3 minutes and 20 seconds left on the clock, plus 2 laps in this final event here for 206 Cadet. These drivers 7 to 10 years of age, utilizing the Briggs 206 platform here at Whiteland Raceway Park. Our youngest standard competitors here learning the ropes, learning how to start, finish races, learning how to drive laps, and most importantly, learning how to share the track with other competitors. As we see these young drivers in the top 7 doing just that, with Hudson Howard at the point. William Richard in 2nd, Reagan Hodges close behind in 3rd, Chase Call in 4th, and Brett Hastings rounding out your top 5. 1 minute and 30 seconds on the clock as we see the battle heating up between William Richard and Reagan Hodges for P2 here on track in Cadet 206 Cadet Final. 1 minute and 30 seconds plus 2 laps again when the clock is over, and the leader, Hudson Howard. Oh, and a big off there for William Richards. They're both sideways coming onto the front straightaway. Big shakeup in the top 3 for William Richards and Reagan Hodges as Reagan Hodges takes advantage and comes out of that incident in P2. We'll see if William Richard able to get back together and get composed enough to catch Reagan Hodges quick, as they're under a minute left to go in this final event. Reagan Hodges quick to open up a 6 or 7 kart length lead after William Richard went off the track exit in one of those tight infield corners, wondering if William Richard possibly had an injury to his kart. Seemingly, he's had a little bit of a pace slowage through that infield sector 1, 2, 3, and 4, and we'll see if maybe he's succumbed to a bent axle or tie rod or something after that big off at the exit of the infield green corner there we're seeing on our screen now. Reagan Hodges, big gap back to William Richard as they've taken over P2, and dust on the track makes that a hard sector to navigate now. Dust on the track from the incident. We see the karts in 4th and 5th sideways through that part of the track. Reagan Hodges able to capitalize on the mistake from William Richard, move up to P2, but it's still Hudson Howard out front with 2 laps to go in the 206 Cadet Final here at Race WRP. My apologies, 3 laps to go, as on our screen Hudson had already crossed that finish line when the clock ran out of pace. Hudson Howard, big gap out front to P2 of Hodges. 16 seconds the lead for Hudson Howard, as we see William Richard not able to close the gap back up to Reagan Hodges after that mistake in the infield. 2 laps to go on the clock for Hudson Howard with a full half a track lead here over second place of Reagan Hodges and William Richard in 3rd. Reagan Hodges able to pick up the pace, a 53.14, 0.2 of a second quicker than William Richard in 3rd place, and almost half of a second slower than Hudson Howard, your race leader, with 2 laps to go. As Hudson Howard is going to come onto the straightaway and click off another one last lap in the 206 Cadet Final for Hudson Howard. Big move under braking there for William Richard, making up a bunch of pace there in the infield sector of the track, and Reagan Hodges knows it as they're turning around, taking a look to see how much gap they have, and the answer is none. William Richard back up to the point with P3 and P2 in his sights as they work their way through the inside sector of the racetrack, back to the rear bumper of Reagan Hodges. And a little bit of an early entry there for Hodges may have hurt their momentum onto the back straightaway, as we see William Richard right to the back bumper. Last lap action for P2. It doesn't get much better than this. Through the chicane into the Monza for one last time, as we see Hudson Howard take the checkered flag for another victory on the day. Reagan Hodges and William Richard wheel to wheel as they enter the infield sector for the last time. Is Richards close enough side by side? And it looks like he might be. No. Reagan Hodges able to hold him off for a P2 finish. William Richard rounds out your top 3. Chase Call coming around to the start-finish line now for a hard-earned P4. Brett Hastings P5. Patrick McNeely coming to the line for P6. And Kason Martin rounding out your top 7. Let's take a look back at the start of this race. Hudson Howard with a good launch up the inside, able to get an early lead and run a gap on this group right away. Absolute raw pace here from Hudson Howard to make this one look easy. Back in the pack a little bit, big off there for Richard as we see Hodges get tangled up in it, and they're going to have to race out of that almost dead stop in that infield sector. And let's see another angle, big off by himself. Just a little bit too much momentum at the exit of that corner. Thankfully, both drivers okay. not a big incident as they were able to return on track and both still finish there in the podium.
Kyle, I need a new 219 chain. I need a 77 tooth sprocket. I need some more chain lube, and I need it probably as soon as like tomorrow. Dude, are you even listening? Like, we need this to run this weekend.
Want anything else?
What do you mean?
I already got it in the Kart on Acceleration Kart Racing's online store, bro. All orders over $200 get free shipping.
Oh, throw in a set of tires.
Done.
Everything you need, all in one place and shipped to your door for free on orders of $200 or more. Exclusions apply. Shop AKR.com.
Are you ready to get behind the wheel? From Formula One to NASCAR and IndyCar, all the pros start here. For more information, check us out online at mcckarting.com or call us and go racing today.
Welcome back to round 2 of the Indy Karting Challenge at Whiteland Raceway Park. Be sure to follow us on social at RaceWRP on Instagram and Facebook, and Whiteland Raceway Park on YouTube. Stay up to date with the news as the 206 Medium Group, our largest group of the day, takes to the circuit for their main event, round 2, Race WRP. We see the drivers getting the signal to take the shortcut to wrap their formation lap up, as we're going to see the drivers bunch together and slow down to formation pace, let the whole field catch back up, and come back around to the front straightaway where we hope to take the green for the first time. Great action in Heat 1 from this group earlier today. Braden Johnson and Eli Fox able to lock out the front row after a tight-fought battle in that first heat race, and already a little issue here towards the back of the pack as the drivers bunch up for their formation lap. Track staff showing them to slow down here as Eli Fox brings them onto the straightaway, and they will get separated into the tram lanes where it will all be in the hands of the official starter of the IKC here at Whiteland Raceway Park. Braden Johnson making sure those tires are clean on the off pole as Eli Fox leads them into the tram lanes, and we'll look for a green flag this time by. Green flag racing, and we are underway for the final race in the 206 medium division here at IKC at Whiteland Raceway Park. Eli Fox quickly to the point while Braden Johnson loses one position there at the start through the infield sector, and we'll see if everyone can get through cleanly and onto the back straightaway, as this is a long final event for the day. Eli Fox leads them through the chicane and into the Monza for the first time this lap in the New Gen Motorsports powered 206 platform. A few drivers off there, big shunt in the back and off through the grass. Looks like both drivers are okay and will able to continue on racing. IKC staff quick to get over there and help those drivers off as we get back to the lead competition here with Eli Fox in the lead. Looks like we've had a little bit of a shake-up there in that top three even. Eli Fox, P1, McKirkendale, P2. Braden Johnson falls back to P3. Levi Wilbur and P4, and Heber will round out your top five. Tight pack racing. Hopefully these drivers make the right choice to stay patient and race towards the end of the event. Hopefully they can stretch a little bit of a gap. A long session, 7 minutes and 50 seconds plus 2 laps remaining on this tight circuit is going to be a long one for these drivers. They must be consistent and patient if they expect to be at the pointy end of this field come time for the checkered flags to be waved in about 10 minutes. Here's our race recap of that first lap incident, and we're seeing Braden Johnson get moved just a little bit wide and not quite able to hold on to the position there as they shuffle back, and we see Eli Fox there leading them onto the main straightaway and back into rotation. Eli Fox, 0.2 of a second lead over McCorkindale. Levi Wilbur makes his way up into P3. Braden Johnson P4 as they battle through that infield sector of the track. Big late apex, hoping to get the run onto the back straightaway, and you see these drivers have learned their lesson. Almost no curb through that double left and onto the back straightaway. All the drivers hoping to get some pushing from their teammates and other drivers behind them. It's that little tap to the back of the helmet. They're telling the driver behind them, let's go. Let's race our way forward, stay single file, and hopefully we lose the group behind us and can race towards the end of the event. These classes with the 206, everyone being so close together, if the drivers at the front start to race, it's very easy for them to lose 2, 3, 4, even 5 positions at a time. So these drivers up front are asking each other, please be smart. Let's keep going as we see McCorkindale already putting a look to the inside. He says, no thank you, I'm not staying in line. McCorkindale to the point through turn 1 over Eli Fox. McCorkindale out front in that red and white Burrell ART, arguably one of the best 4-stroke chassis in the market right now, as new gen driver Eli Fox right to the rear bumper of McCorkindale, down the back straight, through the chicane, and into the Monza, working lap number 3 here at Whiteland Raceway Park. Hard brakes into the hairpin. McCorkindale and Eli Fox stay in line. Eli, a little bit of a move there to the left, maybe looking to set McCorkindale back up, but I'm thinking they will be smart and just stay single file. Eli knows it's not what happens on lap 3 that counts, it's what happens on the last lap that counts. They will race a little bit later in this session as we see Heber go fastest that time by 49.9, the only driver to break into the 49-second laps, as Heber goes purple this session. McCorkindale under tons of pressure from Eli Fox and Levi Wilbur, as Braden Heber also bringing up the tail end of that lead group, followed by Braden Johnson and Jared Howerton wrapping out that top 6, that lead pack. And you've got one straggler there. Looks like Kyle Landon just a little bit further back. If these guys start racing, he's going to have a chance to catch this lead group as well. McCorkindale, not running defensive, knows that Eli Fox is going to stay in line, and they're just going to try to get away from this group, and it doesn't look like it's going to happen. All these drivers up front, great raw pace as we cross the line one more time. See if anyone else can go faster. No, Heber's still the fastest at a 49.9. Nobody else breaking in to those 40-second laps yet. It's McCorkindale and Eli Fox, almost identical lap times, down to the 1,000th in that last time. McCorkindale, Fox, Wilbur, Heber, and Johnson round out your top 5. Through the chicane and back into the Monza one more time. Heavy on the brakes in the hairpin as they enter the infield sector of the original Whiteland Raceway Park circuit here. Hard left, double rights, sweeping. That's a great passing opportunity. I'm sure Eli Fox is sizing that one up for later in the event, as that's where he made his race-winning move in heat number 1. As they come back across the line, it looks like we have a new fastest driver on the racetrack, Landon. Kyle Landon goes purple with a 49.3, almost 0.8 of a second quicker than the previous purple lap there. These drivers are picking up pace as this race goes on. Working lap number 6 now. 3 minutes and 40 seconds to go, plus 2 laps. For McCorkindale, Fox, and Wilbur, your top 3. Six laps down, working lap number 7 from McCorkindale, running a little bit narrow into turn 1, under pressure from Eli Fox and Braden Heber there in P2 and P3, as we see a little bit of a gap starting to open up back to these drivers, as it looks like Wilbur and Braden Johnson, maybe a bit of battling going on there. Jared Howerton back up into the mix at the tail end of that pack as well. We'll see if these front three drivers can't break away these next few laps, as Wilbur and Johnson are hoping that doesn't happen. They will be trying to not lose this gap in front. Even if they do, if this lead group starts to battle at all, they're going to be able to suck that gap right back in, as Eli Fox being smart, staying in line, chasing McCorkindale around the track right now as they are maintaining good pace. Looks like Johnson quickest that last time by with a 49.3. The fastest on track, Braden Johnson back in P5. Does he have a shot as we see a move there on Eli Fox? Heber takes a look at Eli Fox. He's now on the outside going into turn number 2, and Eli Fox says no thanks. And is going to take that one back. McCorkindale a little bit of breathing room, but not for long, as Eli Fox hits a great run out of the infield and back onto the back straightaway. McCorkindale saying, let's wait just a few more laps. 2 minutes plus 2 laps to go here in the 206 medium final. Wheel-to-wheel action as McCorkindale leads this 7-cart train back down. 1 minute and 30 seconds plus 2 laps to go as we work lap number 9. Everybody stays in line through turn number 1. Patience is a virtue, and these drivers know that they want to have the opportunity to duel it out as we get into these last few laps. Eli Fox right on the rear bumper of McCorkindale, able to make that pace up right in just a few corners. After attempted pass by Heber sent him back a few car lengths, Eli Fox right to the tail of McCorkindale through the chicane and into the Monza Bank corner here at Whiteland Raceway Park. Again, single file through the hard hairpin at the end of the straightaway into the old infield here at Whiteland Raceway Park. Eli Fox patient. Big run of momentum there on McCorkindale as they go through that infield sector and back out onto the main straightaway. 46 seconds. It will be close to see if timing goes to 3 laps or 2 laps to go next time by. We'll have to wait till the drivers work their way around and see. Again, these drivers, no idea where they're at in the race until they're shown that 2 to go from the head starter. So they are patiently awaiting that sign, and once they see those 2 sticks in the air, it's all on from there with McCorkindale at the point, Eli Fox in second, and Braden Heber still hanging on in P3. McCorkindale is under pressure from Eli Fox, and it looks like this is the last peaceful lap he's going to get. 7 seconds plus 2 laps to go. They're going to get 2 sticks in the air this time by, and lap traffic might be a factor with Gage Justiniano there in sight. Eli Fox looks like he made a move to the point. Eli Fox leads him to the second lap to go. Eli Fox down to the bottom, McCorkindale back up high, and they are already shaking and dicing for position as it looks like big yellow off in turn 1. We lost a big chunk of that lead pack. We'll see what happened there on replay as we see Eli Fox to the point, McCorkindale in second, Levi Wilbur in third, it looks like. No, that's Braden Johnson in third. Braden Johnson up to third, and it's a 3-way battle with 2 laps to go in 206 medium. Eli Fox down to the bottom defensive line. Braden Johnson takes advantage of it up to the inside of McCorkindale. Not going to be able to make it work. Look for the crossover as they go into the double rights. Eli Fox defensive again. Runs the low line. They'll stay single file as it looks like we're going to pick up a 4th in this battle. White flag is out for Eli Fox in 206 medium. McCorkindale second. Braden Johnson P3. Jared Howerton in P4 as Eli way to the bottom of the track defensive for McCorkindale. McCorkindale crosses him up, and Braden Johnson says, thank you, I'll pick the guy on the inside. Braden Johnson pushing Eli, hoping to get around McCorkindale. Big slide job from McCorkindale. Not able to make it happen on Eli Fox. Whoa, big shakeup as Howerton goes to the lead on the last lap. Howerton, Johnson, Fox, McCorkindale, 4x4 as they go into the Monza for the last time. Howerton defensive into the hairpin. Eli Fox underneath Braden Johnson. Can he make it work? They may have just gave the race to Howerton. Big gap from Howerton back to Johnson. Johnson in P2, McCorkindale P3. Howerton's done it from 4th to 1st. Jared Howerton is your 206 medium final winner at round 2 of the IKC at Whiteland Raceway Park. Jared Howerton, Braden Johnson, Evan McCorkindale, your top 3. Eli Fox just missed out. Only 0.08 of a second back to P4. Kyle Landon wrapping up your top 5 here in this 206 medium final. Exciting racing, and we can't wait to see the replay here live on Kart Chaser. Solid start from Eli Fox, able to get to the point. McCorkindale up into P2, moving over, taking the spot away from Braden Johnson as they work through turn 2, 3, 4 complex and back onto the back straightaway. Big off from some drivers in the back. Thankfully, everybody okay. No damaged go-karts or humans in that interaction. And we will get back up to the front of this pack as soon as we can. Here we're seeing the replay from the straightaway. Just a blanket over these top 4 drivers, 5 drivers this entire race as McCorkindale almost dominant from flag to flag until we see these big shakeups. There's the move. Oh, unfortunate miss there in the middle of that pack. Really just moved over, not realizing there was a driver on the outside of him. And that's the risk you take when we start trying to pass on the outside in these last couple of laps. Absolute driving incident. Unfortunate. Somebody's going to be held accountable for that one. And we're going to see what happens here the last few laps. Eli Fox to the inside. Braden Johnson tries to go with him. McCorkindale says, I'll take that, side by side. And Howerton capitalizes on the mistakes of all 3 of them to get to the point on this last lap. Wow, absolute brilliant racing there from 206 medium at the Whiteland Raceway Park. We can't thank those guys enough for putting on that show. And what a tremendous display of racecraft from your race winner, Howerton. Absolutely stellar to be able to pull that win off from P4 on the last lap. We wait now as our next group, 206 Junior, ready to get back on track at Whiteland Raceway Park for their final race at the IKC Indy Karting Challenge round number 2 here in Indiana.
Commercial break.
So you finally want to get behind the wheel, huh?
Yeah, I've been shooting for 3 years and I've never got to drive.
Well, you're gonna need some more gear than just your helmet. Why don't you go to shopakr.com? They got their inventory online and they'll ship it the same day if you order before 5:30 p.m. Eastern.
They got shoes,
Yep,
gloves,
yep,
rib protectors.
got those too.
Can they make me go fast?
No.
Here at Acceleration Kart Racing, we've got everything you need to get on track. What happens next? Well, that's on you. Check us out online at shopakr.com.
Are you ready to get behind the wheel? From Formula One to NASCAR and IndyCar, all the pros start here. For more information, check us out online at mcckarting.com or call us and go racing today.
Welcome back, race fans, and we are underway for the 206 Junior Final here for round 2 of the Indy Karting Challenge at Whiteland Raceway Park. After a brief delay just now from race control, we are ready to get back to on-track action with our 206 Final, their last event for the day. Some great wheel-to-wheel action in their first heat race earlier this afternoon. And it looks like a shakeup in the grid lineup from where we saw them finish on track. So we will see when they come back around the circuit to take the green flag where we ended up there. Small but mighty, the 206 group. Definitely tons of competition. Not nearly the size that we saw with the the KA Junior group earlier. The two-stroke IME power plant, more popular in this part of Indiana for the juniors. But we definitely have a top quality field of drivers here in 206 Junior ready to take the final event of the day here in Indianapolis for round 2 of the IKC program here at Whiteland Raceway Park. The official club program is the 206 Junior group formed up, ready to take the green as they'll funnel onto the straightaway, into the tram lanes, and we see Payne, Johnson, your first row. Will they get the green flag? Green, green, green. We're underway for 206 Junior. Final round action from round 2 of the IKC Cup at Whiteland Raceway Park. Kart 307. Johnson right out front to the point with Payne close behind as they work through that infield sector of the track onto the back straightaway. Sorry, that's not Payne. That's going to be Kart 351. Pfister, it looks like, up to P2. Payne looking to the inside now as they go through the chicane and into the Monza for the first time. We're going to have to wait till they come around to see who came out with that one. Either way, it's Johnson to the point. Johnson out in P1. New Gen Motorsports driver Lacer, it looks like, in P2 there. And Johnson back, or Payne back to P3. We'll see where they're at when they come around on the Alpha Timing app, the official timing and scoring app. Johnson, Payne, Pfister, Utzi, Patton, Lacer, and Hardin round out your top 7 here after one lap in the 206 Junior. Final race of the day here at Whiteland Raceway Park. Early lead for Johnson as he picks up about 9 kart lengths over Payne there in P2. Short gap back to Pfister in P3. It looks like Utzi may have even found his way up to P3 in that outlap after they came across the line. We'll see where they come across here as they go through the chicane into the Monza. No, it's Pfister P3, Utzi P4. Small gap back to Utzi as he's going to be looking to make quick work of the top 3 and make his way up to battle as Utzi looks to the inside. Utzi's through. Utzi to P3 over Pfister. Onto the front straightaway. Johnson, another fast lap. Payne in P2. Utzi up to P3. Pfister P4. Utzi with the fast lap that time by 51.5. 7/10 of a second a lap quicker than your race leader, Tyler Johnson. Gabriel Payne holding Fitzy off in P2. Or Utzi off in P2. Chris Utzi back there in P3. Good run onto the back straightaway. We'll see if he has anything for Payne as they go through the chicane, into the Monza, and into the hard braking zone, back in the classic sector of the track. Utzi looks to the inside, not going to be able to make it happen over Payne that time by. They'll stay single file as Johnson able to gap just a little bit more over Payne and Utzi. Utzi still with the fastest lap of the race. We'll see how they come through this time by. 6 minutes and 50 seconds plus 2 laps on the board. Utzi to the inside, not done yet, as Payne's able to hold him off when they get to the line. Utzi not able to go faster, but able to complete the pass over Payne to the inside. Utzi in the AMAX machine up to P2. Tyler Johnson at this point with a 10-plus car length lead, almost 2 seconds the gap. Back to Chris Utzi and Gabrielle Payne rounding out your top three. Cami Pfister falling back a little bit in P4. Lucian Lacer makes his way into P5. Evan Patton P6 with Colin Harden rounding out your top seven here in 206 Junior. Let's see if Utzi is able to maintain that pace while he's got the Rabbit Tyler Johnson out front to chase. Will he be able to run him down? Long race here for the final 6 minutes plus 2 laps left. That will give Utzi plenty of time if he can capitalize, and Utzi goes purple again. Chris Utzi, 51.3, 0.5 of a second faster than your race leader Tyler Johnson that time by. Part 307, Tyler Johnson, early lead. Will he be able to hold it over Chris Utzi and a charging Gabrielle Payne, able to stay right to the rear bumper of Utzi as they push their way down the back straightaway through the chicane and into the Monza here at Whiteland Raceway Park. That Bank Monza corner, a unique opportunity for drivers to carry more speed than they would be able to over a flat corner. Not many of those on modern karting tracks nowadays as the cost and pain of maintenance, but it looks like Utzi's taken well advantage of the Monza Bank corner and caught up to the rear bumper of Tyler Johnson as they begin to work lap number 4. 5 minutes and 2 laps left to go. Just 2 car lengths the lead over Payne over Utzi as Johnson is able to keep to the point. Part number 307 there, the orange and white machine with the black Nassau panel, as we see Chris Utzi right to the rear bumper as they make their way onto the back straightaway here. Working lap number 5. Does Utzi have anything for Johnson this time by, or will he be patient and wait till the end of the race? Utzi with the unbelievable raw pace. Let's see if he looks to the inside. Utzi's not going to do it there. We'll see if he looks down to the end of the straightaway. That's where he's made most of his other passes this session. Single file through the infield. Late apex for Utzi. Lots of curve for Johnson as they make their way through the old part of the track. Utzi with a good run onto the straightaway. Johnson, Utzi, Payne. Utzi goes purple again. 50.2 for Utzi. And a move to the inside for the lead. Utzi not quite able to make it stick. He'll be on the outside of Johnson as they go through turn number 2. Crossover move. Utzi to the inside. Now the outside again. Johnson's able to hold him off. Utzi back to the inside as they go down on the back straightaway. Tons of curb and into the chicane. 2x2 for Chris Utzi on the inside. And not able to make it stick. Johnson able to hold off the charging Chris Utzi as they battle their way through the 6th lap here. Back single file. Utzi learning from that maneuver, trying to overtake Tyler Johnson. He's going to have to pick a better plan of attack here or force an error as we see Tyler Johnson super confident carrying the momentum back onto the straightaway. A little bit of a late setup there for Utzi. Will we see him go to the inside again? Utzi to the inside in turn 1, and he's through. Utzi's able to complete the pass and get to the point over Tyler Johnson. Tyler Johnson right to the rear bumper of Utzi, and we'll see if Utzi's able to keep that raw pace. 50.2, a second and a half faster than Tyler Johnson that last lap. We'll see if Tyler Johnson's able to keep on the rear bumper of Utzi, or if Utzi will be able to keep up this race pace without a rabbit to chase and break a little gap off between him, Johnson, and Gabrielle Payne in top 3. Lucian Laser, Cami Pfister, and Evan Patton, real close battle there for 4th position in that second group we see on the track going into the infield sector right now. But it is Christopher Utzi leading the field back out of the straightaway to start lap number 8. 2 minutes, 40 seconds to go for Chris Utzi. Johnson with a big look to the inside of Utzi going into turn 1, and now he's going to be on the outside for turn 2 again. Do we see the crossover move? No. Back in line. Tyler Johnson all over the rear bumper of Utzi. Looks like that raw pace might have been with the rabbit to chase, and now Johnson's got that rabbit of Utzi, able to stay right to the rear bumper as they chase down the back straightaway through the chicane and into the Monza, working lap number 8. 1 minute, 40 seconds plus 2 laps to go. Big lunge under braking for Tyler Johnson, able to close that gap back up as they enter the infield to the old part of the track. Tyler Johnson all over the rear bumper of Chris Utzi. Chris Ute out in front. Tyler Johnson looks to the inside again, would be able to make it happen. Tyler Johnson through to the lead. Working lap number 9 here in the 206 Junior Final at Whiteland Raceway Park. Ute back to second. Gabriel Payne trailing in third. This is becoming a 2-horse race quickly as Tyler Johnson and Chris Ute with blistering pace out front. Ute still with the fastest lap of a 50.247, chasing Tyler Johnson before he was able to make that pass. We'll see if Tyler Johnson is able to hold Ute off as he's in the lead now, working that infield sector of the track. 55 seconds to go. This will be 4 to go. They're coming up to the line. This will be 3 laps to go for Chris Ute and Tyler Johnson this next time by. 3 laps in the 206 Junior main event. And Ute goes fastest, 51.3 to Payne's 51.6. Tyler Johnson fastest that last lap at a 51.0. Tyler Johnson with a little bit of a gap there back to Ute. Pulls off 2 or 3 car lengths through that infield sector. Let's see if Ute can reel him back in going down that back straightaway. Through the chicane and into the Monza, and the clock is out. 2 laps to go next time by for Tyler Johnson and Christopher Ute. Tyler Johnson a little bit defensive there. Ute turns around to see where Payne is. They know it's a 2-way battle, and they are about to find out who's going to win this battle. The clock is out. 2 laps to go for Tyler Johnson this time by. 2 to go, and Ute is already on the attack. Tyler Johnson deep on the bottom of the racetrack. Ute's not going to make it work around the outside and have the patience to stay in line and fight another corner. Gabriel Payne back there in 3rd position. Looks like Lucian Laser may be reeling in 3rd position a little bit. Not sure he'll have time to get there before the end of this race, as we see Johnson barely able to hold off and attacking Chris Ute through the chicane into the Monza. We'll see if Ute has anything for him here in the braking zone. Johnson a little deep and defensive down to the inside of the track as they enter that old narrow section of the circuit through this tight complex. Does Ute have anything for him there? No, they'll stay in line. Final lap, coming onto the straightaway. Tyler Johnson leads them into the last lap of the 206 Junior Final with a 2-car gap back to Ute. Ute not able to make anything work. Johnson still goes defensive, and Ute right back to the rear bumper. Ute to the inside. They bang pods. Ute now on the outside, going through turn 3 into turn 4. Johnson has the preferred line. Johnson to the point as they go onto the back straightaway. Johnson able to hold off and attacking Christopher Ute. Gabriel Payne right back in the mix. And P3 right to the rear bumper of Chris Ute as they go through the Monza for the last time. Johnson defensive to the inside. Chris Ute to the outside. Payne tries to make a look for P2. Not going to get through. Johnson defensive to the inside. Does Ute have the room to make a move? No chance. Johnson defensive, aggressive when he needed to be, and successful. Tyler Johnson, your 206 final winner for round 2 of the Indy Karting Challenge at Whiteland Raceway Park. Christopher Ute, a hard-fought second place through the pack. Not able to get it done on Tyler Johnson that last lap. Gabriel Payne right back to the bumper of Ute to finish P3. Lucian Laser able to bring home P4 with Cammy Pfister, Evan Patton in P6, and Hardin in P7. What a great race out of these 206 juniors. We'll see a replay here. Good start by Johnson, able to get out to the point quick. And we're going to see Ute work his way up through the group from the tail end of the field, right up into the lead battle. Again, another brilliant pass from Ute out of that tight infield sector of the track, taking advantage of the mistakes when he was able to, and setting up good passes like this one when he wasn't. Looks to the outside, back to the inside, late move, and full commitment all the way past and through to P2. Ute side by side with Johnson, the battle for first, and unfortunately not able to get the move done. Johnson holds him off, and they're going to do it again, side by side onto the back straightaway. Johnson, big commitment to send it down into the chicane here. Big move for Johnson. That could have decided the race. Going through the chicane and into the Monza for the last time. Johnson able to hold off and attacking Ute. And unfortunate for Ute, Johnson was able to come home victorious in today's 206 Junior main event. 206 Junior category presented by Bellum Logistics. These young drivers putting on an absolute show for us today at Whiteland Raceway Park, and for those of us tuning in live on Kart Chaser. Our next group is on the track, 206 Masters, ready for their final event of the weekend. Brilliant racing so far from these guys, and we can't wait to see them get underway for their main event as they finish their formation lap and get ready to roll onto the main straightaway and hopefully get the green this time by. Pole sitter comes around. Swift is going to bring him into the tram lanes. We'll see if we get the green this time by. Nice and slow for 206 Masters. Can Geist get the jump on the start and make it happen on the outlap? Green, green, green. We're underway for the 206 Masters. Final race of the day here at Whiteland Raceway Park. Geist, P2. Swift able to hold off on P1. Short gap back to P3. And these drivers are side by side back through 10th place. Swift, Geist, Dietz, your top three as they sit going into the back straightaway. Geist all over the rear bumper of Swift, and we are ready for a long battle in this final event. Single file through the hairpin at the end of the straightaway and into the old infield sector here at Whiteland Raceway Park. Swift with a bit of a gap back to Geist and a bit of a smaller gap back to Dietz and P3. As we see them come through and get clocked by the Alpha timing app. Swift, Geist, Dietz, your top three. Hastings and Guernsey round out your top five with Patterson P6, Owens P7, Monsian P8, Monsian P9, and Semenelic rounding out your top 10. Swift is still on the point. Big run out of Geist as they get to the back straightaway. He's going to suck the gap right up to the rear bumper of Swift, to the chicane and into the Monza. Let's see if he wants to make something happen early or just stay in line and race away from this second gap behind him. A little bit loose under braking there for Swift. Makes an opportunity for Geist to put a nose under it. Swift able to maintain the lead over Geist. Dietz right there, ready to capitalize if either of them make a mistake or go to battle at all. And Geist actually goes fastest that lap, 51.35, more than half a second over P4. So they're going to gap that second group pretty quick, it looks like, as Geist looks to the inside of Swift going through turn 3. Crossover through turn 4. Can he get through? Geist to the point, onto the back straightaway, and Dietz is going to follow him. Dietz under the inside, through the chicane, 2 by 2, and Dietz makes it happen into the Monza. Matt Geist and Adam Dietz, you're 1-2 with Swift going from first back to third in an instant. Swift still to the rear bumper of Geist as Geist is able to make a little bit of a gap there to P2, just 2 or 3 kart lengths, and that makes Hastings involved. Hastings from fourth back up in the mix as he gets to the tail end of Ron Swift. Swift stays in line going into turn number 1. Happy to stay by Adam Geist and work their way back up to the rear bumper of Matt Geist as they work their way through the internal section back onto the rear straightaway. Geist in the white and red numbered Tony kart out front, a little bit lower in the kart, orange helmet. And Adam Dietz, a great run onto the back straightaway as Dietz and Swift are able to reel in Matt Geist just a little bit that last lap. Geist goes purple that time by with a 51.0. Adam Geist in P2 reeling in Matt Geist a little bit on the fourth lap there. 5 minutes and 20 seconds plus 2 laps to go as we let Matt Geist, Adam Geist, and Ron Swift breaking away from the rest of this pack here in 206 Masters. Geist under tons of pressure from Adam Dice, the number 66 there in P2. 0-1, Ron Swift still able to hang on to that third position. A little bit of a gap opening back up to Eric Hastings. That last time by, Swift actually went fastest. 50.8 for Ron Swift. Lap 4, working lap 5 now is Matt Geist under pressure from Dice and Swift behind him. This is going to be a 3-kart breakaway. Long final events here though. 4 minutes and 20 seconds plus 2 laps left in this one. 206 Masters main event presented by Schaefer. Swift looks to the inside of Adam Dietz. He's going to be able to make it through, but Dietz has the inside going into turn number 2. Can he make it stick? Adam Dietz comes out with the P2. Ron unable to make the move on Adam Dietz. Absolutely able to give a nice gap to Matt Geist, as Matt has about a 10-car length lead going onto the back straightaway now. Working lap number 6, 3 minutes and 30 seconds plus 2 laps to go. Matt Geist, Adam Dietz, and Ronald Swift going through the infield sector, and Geist has a comfortable lead now after Ron Swift and Adam Dietz get a little bit side-by-side action through turn 2 and 3. Matt Geist goes purple that time by. 50.7 for your race leader as he makes a bigger margin over Adam Dietz and Ron Swift. Ron Swift all over to the rear bumper of Adam Dietz looking for a move. He knows Geist is going away, and if he wants to catch back up and have a shot at this win, he's got to get by Dietz quick. Matt Geist, rocket pace right now, going down the back straightaway through the chicane and into the Monza. Ron Swift, a little bit of a tight hop, maybe not quite set up for the end of the race. Obviously, Matt Geist, perfect tire pressure from his mechanic coming out on the racetrack. Kart coming in 7 laps into this long main event. 2 minutes and 20 seconds plus 2 laps left on the clock as Matt Geist leads him back onto the main straightaway. P1, Matt Geist. P2, Adam Dietz, and Ron Swift again. The look to the inside coming on the straightaway. Open racetrack in between your top 3 is Matt Geist able to check out, capitalize on Adam Dietz and Ron Swift battling a little bit through the infield and make a healthy lead of almost a full second back to P2 of Adam Dietz as they work lap number 8. 1 minute and 30 seconds plus 2 laps on the board. Lap traffic will likely become a factor, as we can see in the bottom part of your screen there. A few lap carts getting caught by your leaders as we work lap number 9. Ron Swift back to the rear bumper of Adam Dietz right away. Geist with lightning race pace, 50.8 that time by, 4 seconds of a lap quicker than P2 Adam Dietz. Matt Geist, great run. Everybody learned their lesson with these CIK curbs in the first heat race, staying off of them, carrying momentum in these 206 karts as they work their way through the chicane and into the Monza Bank corner here at Whiteland Raceway Park. Whiteland Raceway Park, the oldest karting circuit in North America, operating continuously since 1958. Now under the ownership and guidance of IndyCar drivers Sarah Fisher and Andy O'Gara, IndyCar team owners, and now go-kart track team owners here in southern Indianapolis. 30 seconds plus 2 laps. That's 3 laps left for Matt Geist across the line. Adam Dietz in P2, and Ron Swift rounds out your top 3. Through the chicane and into the Monza. Matt Geist with a 1.8 second lead over P2 of Adam Dietz. P3 of Ron Swift a little bit tight on the exit of that corner. maybe bound up in that go-kart. Adam Dietz able to walk away a little bit. 0.7 of a second, the gap between second and third. 1.6 seconds back to Hastings in P4. Guernsey, another 1.5 seconds to round out your top 5. Good battle right now going on for 7th between Kenneth Owens and Troy Toney as we work 2 laps to go for Matt Geist, Adam Dietz, and Ron Swift. Ron Swift back to the rear bumper of Adam Dietz, looking for P2 in this final race here in 206 Masters as they go through the infield and back onto the back straightaway. Matt Geist through the chicane and into the Monza for the penultimate time here in this 206 Masters final as Dietz, a little bit of a mistake there through the chicane, and Swift right to the rear bumper. Under braking, they're going to stay in line and into the tight infield sector of the racetrack. Swift, good under braking, able to suck right up to the rear bumper of Dietz. We'll see if he has anything for P2. To the inside, Ron a little bit early. Maybe he'll be able to stay side by side through the chicane on the straightaway. This cost Ron last time. Looks like the same mistake. Ron back in line. Adam Dietz up into P2, and we have a new fast lap of the race. Ty Guernsey. Ty Guernsey with a 50.27 that last lap, coming in at the very last minute. Matt Geist with a healthy lead of 2.5 seconds now after Dietz and Swift have been battling a little bit. Let's get back to the battle between Dietz and Swift for P2 as we pick them up through the chicane, and it looks like we may have had a change of position here. We missed the pass for a second. Swift is through on Adam Dietz for P2, a little bit defensive into the hairpin. We'll see if Dietz can come back at him in this double right. Not close enough. Ron Swift gets it done when it counts and is able to get by Adam Dietz for P2 in this race, while Matt Geist, your 206 Masters final winner, and ICK race number 2 at Whiteland Raceway Park. Ron Swift with a hard-fought P3, Adam Dietz in P3. I'm sorry, Ron Swift in P2, Adam Dietz in P3, Derek Hastings in P4, Ty Guernsey rounding out your top 5, J. Brian Williams P6, Troy Toney able to get it done in P7 over Kenneth Owens, Scott Monsian, Anthony Watcher in P10, Dan Monsian in P11, Kevin Simonelik in P12, Eric Patton P13, Corey Patterson P14, and Justin Watcher coming across the line and rounding out your top 15 in 206 Masters. Let's take a look back at some of the exciting action from the 206 Masters finale. Nice slow start from the veterans in the 206 Masters category. Big jump off the line for Swift as he is able to get to the point early on, but no match for the raw pace of Geist as Geist is able to get underneath. A nice courtesy gesture there from Swift, giving him the go-ahead, and unfortunately Geist was able to take advantage, and unfortunately Swift taken advantage of by the driver there in P3, also following Geist through. Either way, great wheel-to-wheel battles in that category to finish out the day. And our next group, the largest of the day, and by far the most intense, with KA Senior and KA Masters on the schedule next. KA Senior pole sitter Austin Olds brings the field to the point as they work through the cut through on their formation lap and get ready to stack up for the final round of the KA Senior and Masters division here at round 2 of the Indy Karting Challenge at Whiteland Raceway Park. Excellent wheel-to-wheel action here in the first heat race in this category, this being the fastest category hosted at Whiteland Raceway Park using the IAMI Karting Australia 100 engine platform, the most common platform in single-speed two-cycle racing here in North America, as we see an MPG Race Factory front row lockout between Austin Olds and the real deal, as they're going to come onto the main straightaway, funnel into those tram lanes And we're going to look to get green from these professionals this time by. As we see right now, talent Austin Olds reaching over veteran racing driver, giving the kart a little bit less fuel to get off the line. And we're green. Austin Olds to the point. Jackson Deal on the outside. A little bit of a battle there for P2, and Deal gets shuffled back to third. Deal to third. Steins up into P2. I'm sorry, that's Lund up into P2 in the top kart machine, and he's to the rear bumper of Austin Olds as they go through the chicane and into the Monza for the first time. Side by side into the Monza further back. Everybody gets through clean, and hard braking to the inside as Jackson Deal back up to P2. Austin Olds, Jackson Deal take the 1-2 away from Lund as they work lap number 1 through onto the main straightaway and back to the start-finish line. We'll get them pulled up here in the Alpha Timing app. Austin Olds, Jackson Deal, AJ Lund, Surgener to P4, and Steins to P5. Look at this battle. We're seeing some defensive driving already from Austin Olds and Jackson Deal trying to hold off the Top Kart USA pilot Lund. And back to another MPG Race Factory teammate in Surgener back in P4, looking to separate the top kart and get up to that lead 3 group. Single file to the Monza as these drivers under hard braking back into the infield sector of the track here with Austin at the point. Jackson Deal able to pull a small gap back to Lund as they work through the infield and come around to complete lap number 2 and working lap number 3. 7 minutes and 30 seconds plus 2 laps to go here for the KA Senior Final of the IKC round number 2 in Whiteland Raceway Park. Austin Olds not able to shake Jackson Deal this time around. Jackson Deal right to the rear bumper, closely followed by AJ Lund and Mason Sturgener. These longer final events, it looks like Jackson Deal to the inside of his teammate Austin Olds. They're going to battle side by side. Give Lund the pass over to get to 2. AJ Lund takes advantage of the battling teammates, makes his way up into P2, and this front group is tight racing wheel to wheel right now as Austin Olds falls back again into third. Slide job into turn 1, not going to make it happen. Jackson Deal to the point, AJ Lund in second, and Austin Olds rounding out your top 3. Jackson Deal a little bit of a tuck behind that Nassau panel as he feels the pressure from AJ Lund behind him through the chicane and into the Monza bank. Hard on the brakes to the hairpin and back into the infield sector. A little bit of a wheel off there for Deal. Unable to capitalize on Lund as they stay single file back through the infield, out onto the main straightaway and back into line. It looks like we're losing positions for Austin Olds. Austin Olds back to 8th position. Austin Olds, a mistake through that infield section, splits the entire MPG Race Factory crew up. Now it's just Jackson Deal and AJ Lund out front together. Mason Sturgener 4 to 5 car lengths back as they enter the back straightaway. Lund with clearly some top end pace there on Jackson Deal as they work their way into the Monza. Maybe a different gear ratio here as Lund is telling Deal, just go, let's leave this pack behind us. Stop being defensive. Experience showing out of Lund as they race towards the end of this race. They'll want to make it a 2-driver battle so that if one of them trades positions, they're not under attack from the drivers behind them. AJ Lund says no thank you, I'll take the point now. Jackson Deal back to P2. Jackson Deal pushes it to the outside. The side-by-side racing is going to allow Mason Sturgener and Charlie Steins to catch back up to that pack and make it a 4-way battle instead of a 2-way battle as Sturgener tells Charlie, let's go catch him. AJ Lund to the point, Jackson Deal P2, Sturgener P3 as they go through the chicane and into the Monza. AJ Lund appears to be on rails through that infield sector of the track, holding off Jackson Deal. Big group up here as Mason Sturgener catches the back of Jackson Deal. Charlie Steins to the rear of him. Bane Bennett the 2nd and 5th. Kart number 99 up into the shake, and Austin Olds working his way back up into this main pack, up into P7. A.J. Lund not running defensive, hoping to break away from Surgener and Steins as they work their way onto the back straightaway through the chicane and into the Monza. A little bit of a nudge there from Jackson Deal. Lund a little bit out of shape going into the Monza, but they stay single file through the hairpin and back into the infield part of the circuit. 4 minutes to go, plus 2 laps for KA Senior and KA Masters in their final event of the day. A.J. Lund, smooth, small wheel inputs as they work their way through the infield sector and back out onto the rear straightaway. Like we've said, these IAME platform engines can handle a little bit of flex in the chassis. They're able to use these CIK curbs a little bit more than the 206 classes are, as we've seen that upset karts throughout this whole event. A.J. Lund still able to maintain the point as he gets a little love tap from Jackson Deal, and out of the way goes Lund. And to the point goes Deal, and Steins will follow him through to P2. A little bit of a shakeup there as we see Jackson Deal, Mason Sturgeon up to P2, Charlie Steins P3, and A.J. Lund from pole back to P4 in that top kart machine. So we see the Race Factory MPG karts first and second, top kart machines P3, P4. This is certainly a battle they will want to maintain, with Jackson Deal and Mason Sturgeon hoping that they can take a little bit of a gap away from the trailing top karts of Charlie Steins and A.J. Lund. Single file through the infield. Charlie Steins able to catch up to the rear bumper of Mason Sturgeon a little bit as they go through. Our fastest lap of the race so far is Souter back down in the field a little bit. P8 with a 44.037. Still maintains the fastest lap of the race on lap number 5. Jackson Deal putting a small gap between him and Mason Sturgeon. Teammate Mason Sturgeon under attack from Charlie Steins as they work their way back onto the back straight. Working lap number 9. 2 minutes left, plus 2 laps in this main event for KA Senior. Jackson Deal, great body English getting through that infield sector of the track, using his upper body weight to transfer the rear weight and jack the inside rear tire of that go-kart. Has that Race Factory MPG machine working perfectly as his teammate Mason Sturgeon heavily under attack now from Charlie Steins in the number 88. They work their way through this infield section, about 3 kart lengths the gap from Deal to Sturgeon. Sturgeon to Steins, about a piece of paper as they work their way onto the back straightaway through the chicane and into the Monza. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 karts in this lead battle as Austin Olds find his way back up into this lead group. Austin Olds up to P6, trailing Lane Gibbs, AJ Lund in P4. Can Austin Olds get through this pack? Austin Olds up a position into P5 through the infield. Austin Olds says, I'm not done yet. 44 seconds and 2 laps to go. Jackson Deal under attack now from Mason Sturgeon. Mason Sturgeon opening up a little bit of a gap to Charlie Steins, but the one to watch out for is going to be Austin Olds, already up into P5, and he's going to want to get back to where he feels he deserves to be at the front of this pack. Good momentum through the chicane and into the Monza for Austin Olds, able to close the gap a little bit to Lane Gibbs as we see Sturgeon, Deal, and Steins nose to tail through this infield sector of the track. 8 seconds plus 2 laps to go. Will they get it this time by? They will. 2 seconds for Jackson Deal as they work lap number 12 and KA Senior final here at Whiteland Raceway Park. Jackson Deal a little bit defensive to the inside. Mason Sturgeon, big wide setup into turn 2. Tons of momentum for Sturgeon as they leave the infield, go down to the back straightaway. Jackson Deal behind the Nassau panel, able to pull 1 or 2 kart lengths to Sturgeon. Sturgeon with a big push from Charlie Steins to get back to the bumper of Deal. Hard on the brakes for Deal as they go into the hairpin, and they're bunched up 1, 2, 3 for the end of this race. We're showing 2 laps to go on track, 3 laps to go on the timing. Let's see what the head flagman shows this time by. White flag is out for Jackson Deal. 1 lap to go for the MPG Race Factory competitor as he runs defensive into turn 1. Surgener right to the rear bumper. Can he do anything through this infield sector of the track? No. They're going to stay single file. Jackson Deal, Mason Surgener, and Charlie Steins clearly the three in battle and striking distance here for the victory as they have the last lap down the straightaway, through the chicane, and into the Monza for the last time this night. Jackson Deal defensive to the inside, hard on the brakes into the hairpin. Will Steins be able to go through? Steins through on Surgener. Surgener back up the inside, back through to P2. Surgener puts the bumper to Deal. Big jump from Surgener into Deal, 3 wide as they come onto the straightaway. Who's going to get it? It's Surgener. Mason Surgener, your winner, and KA Senior here at the Indy Karting Challenge at Whiteland Raceway Park. What an epic battle between Mason Surgener, Charlie Steins, and Jackson Deal on the last lap of this race. Absolutely awesome performance from Austin Olds, working his way back up to P4. Unfortunate for AJ Lund getting shuffled back a little bit in that top kart machine. He'll come home P5. Lane Gibbs P6. Souter P7th. BB2 P8. B Finley P9. Fairfield P10. And let's catch some replays from this K Senior action here. Austin Olds to the point early under tons of pressure from Jackson Deal. There's the slide job from Deal on Olds. Olds is going to hang it on the outside, get shuffled back a little bit. There we get the okay on Jackson Deal from Lund. And Lund is going to drop a tire and lose a few spots there. Mason Surgener and Jackson Deal defensive on the last lap. And defensive, we see it cost them the race as they go 3 wide onto the main straightaway. And Mason Surgener ends up bringing home the race win for round 2 of the Indy Karting Challenge here at Whiteland Raceway Park. Thank you to all of our competitors and families for joining us today, and thank you to everyone who tuned in live with us on Kart Chaser. My name's Christian Marsh. It's been a pleasure being with you, and we hope to see you at the next round of the IKC at Whiteland Raceway Park.
Brandon, why are there all these charges for just over $200 from Acceleration Kart Racing's website?
That's because AKR gives you free shipping on orders of $200 or more within the continental US.
Okay, but I thought you were just getting a pair of gloves. That's what, 70 bucks?
But if I'm getting a new pair of gloves, I might as well get a new pair of shoes to match. And then on top of that, I'll get a neck brace because with the shipping, it's basically free.
Yeah, I do not think the math checks out on that.
Everything you need, all in one place and shipped to your door for free for orders of $200 or more. Exclusions apply. Spend responsibly. Shop AKR.com.
ready to get behind the wheel? From Formula One to NASCAR and IndyCar, all the pros start here. For more information, check us out online at mcckarting.com or call us and go racing today.
We're at a commercial break.